Back again to the Blockchain Economy Istanbul Summit. I hope you all had your lunches and you're ready with your full energy for our first keynote speaker. Let's just get started. So Ivan Kurnavin will be the head of business development at Honor Wallets. We'll be talking about building crypto ecosystem, which is a very important title actually. Welcome Ivan, and the stage is yours.
How's the sound? Can you hear me well, guys? Yeah. Thank you. My name is Ivan Kurnavin. I'm heading the business development department at Honor Wallet. I'm glad to meet everyone, and I'm happy to make my presentation for you today. The presentation is dedicated to our vision of business ecosystems, about our way how we are building our Honor Wallet ecosystem and where we're going to. So, what is a business ecosystem in general? Business ecosystem is a combination of goods and services available for users from the single point or in the easiest way possible. Business ecosystems also help the customers to get more substantial results for the time spent. One of the best examples is the shopping mall, where you can buy a new TV set while your wife is busy with manicure, your car is being washed, and your kids are messing on the playground. When talking about crypto and financial industries, today we have everything in our laptops and mobile phones, but things were not that simple years before, of course. In 1960s, you would have to send your check to the bank to be processed and make several calls. Things got better in 1990s when the internet became really affordable, and with the technological revolution of the new millennium, things and services moved to portable devices, so now you can take your bank anywhere you want to go. Just about 10 years later, the Bitcoin arrived with the new technology of the blockchain, and the industry of finance has started to change once again. And today, we have the combination of crypto and financial services inside single application, which can be called business ecosystems as well. I'm going to show you, this development was possible only due to combination of the services from service providers into business ecosystems. That's the easiest and one of the most efficient ways to achieve success on the market today. And of course, there is an increasing demand from the market. Everyone is seeking for superior financial tools, and the whole population in the world is getting more digitalized. I'm going to show you the progress of the development of Honor Wallet ecosystem. I'll be using Honor as an example. Of course, some other brands have started their path before us, and the order of their steps was different, but I'll try to describe the general idea. In 2018, we have decided to make a secure crypto wallet, which is not a business ecosystem yet. Our first mobile app releases took place in 2019, in April, and it was obvious for us that our customers want to buy crypto with their bank cards. This brings us to the first collaboration with an acquiring partner, and this makes Honor Wallet an ecosystem already, as we are now combining crypto and financial services in the same app. Later that year, we have also integrated our payment gateway into Bitfinex crypto exchange, and with that, we have stepped to the market of the corporate service providers. And in addition to that, we have published our app on all platforms, PC and mobile, to attract more customers and to empower the ecosystem. In 2020, when the COVID pandemic began, the financial market has started to change once again. Everything moved to online format, but the most of the shops still cannot accept payments in crypto. So here comes a solution, crypto cards. Isn't that great? You just top up your card with a Bitcoin and then buy anything online or offline. In Honor Wallet, we have started issuing Visa prepaid cards in June 2020, and the number of the customers is still growing. We have also proceeded with our geography expansion with an MSB license in the United States, so now Honor ecosystem becomes transcontinental. Last year, in 2021, last year was another to-the-moon year for the crypto industry. The Bitcoin price was above $60,000 last autumn, if you remember. In addition to crypto cards, we can now find IBAN accounts available with several crypto service providers. As for owner, we have proceeded with our geography expansion. New licenses in Australia, Canada, and Czech Republic were obtained. Some of them has just appeared on the market. What else happened in 2021 is that we have started providing our services for corporate clients more actively. This is still a big deal all over the globe for companies to buy or sell crypto officially. And as a multi-licensed international company, Owner Wallet is ready to help here, just like many other companies can. Today, we can see a lot of specialized crypto service providers on the market. Some of them providing crypto loans and staking services, others provide crypto acquiring services. Some unicorns are selling crypto domain names, which brings us to the Web3 generation. So how should the perfect crypto wallet app or crypto and financial wallet app should look like today? It should be a super secure, super safe, and super fast application for individual and corporate clients at reasonable costs. For example, a person can buy and exchange crypto, can trade it or give a loan to gain some profits, then withdraw these profits to the fiat or spend it somehow. The user also gets top news, signals, and bonuses in the same app, in addition to, say, NFT marketplace or blockchain-based games, things like that. And it all should be done legally. Most of the biggest crypto brands have also started issuing their custom tokens to be utilized inside their platforms. We think that the project tokenomics is one of the most powerful and extremely powerful tools today to attract new customers, to increase the trust level and the value of your company in general. In Owner, we are structuring our tokenization at this moment, paying a lot of attention to legal and reputational aspects. We believe that for healthy tokenomics, there should be at least two types of the tokens, a utility stable token and a security token with a price volatility related to the achievements of the company. And like I said before, all the things and all the services should be available at the same place, like your mobile app or a PC app. So these apps are becoming really complicated, a lot of options, buttons, and so on. So they are becoming super apps. We all knew WeChat app, which is a combination of social network in China with a combination of payment services, chats, data transferring, and so on. And the whole Chinese market is utilizing it quite successfully, despite the fact that it's really complicated app for someone. Telegram, all we know and we all use it, is another type of the super app, maybe of some different type, but it still contains a lot of services for individuals and corporate clients. If we take a look around to the industry of crypto service providers, please click, yeah. If we take a look around to the industry of crypto, we will find only several names who can provide the whole scope of the services to their customers, so they can be called crypto super apps. It's Crypto.com, Binance plus Trust Wallet, and several more names. All of them have started with something smaller and then grown up to the whole crypto ecosystems. So this is where Owner Wallet is going to. These days in 2022, we can see general market adoption in different countries, new regulations being built in different countries. Like I said before, a lot of crypto staking and acquiring service providers and numerous Web3 and decentralized web applications. Here is a brief overview. Here is a brief overview. I do apologize. Yeah. Here is a brief overview of the crypto ecosystem development defined by years for you to see the progress. It's worth noting that all the development and improvements must take place on multiple levels at the same time. I mean, when you create your new feature, you should make sure that it is legal and covered on the regulatory level, and you should also care that it will be promoted properly. In Owner, please. Yeah. In Owner, we have already achieved a lot by this day. Our audience and volumes are growing every day. The list of supported assets and functions is being enhanced. Recently, we have launched our lifetime affiliate program to attract new customers and to help our partners to earn with us. For now, I would like to suggest you, I do apologize. Something is wrong with the clicker. For now, I'd like to suggest you to become dreamers for a minute. What would you like to see in your favorite crypto or financial app? What will wait us in the future? Would it be a secure blockchain-based chat, or a dashboard to manage your Web3 application, or maybe a social media profile? Who knows? Feel free to share your ideas with us. We'll take care of them, definitely. In conclusion, I'd like to recap that the crypto ecosystems have developed enormously within 5 or 7 last years, and now they are competing with traditional banking services and even sharing the same audience with them. And such a growth is a result of the combination of service providers' forces into business ecosystems, and of course is a result of the increasing demand from the audience. Crypto and traditional financial apps are really close to each other, but they are still different, and they will have their own ways of the development, but still really close. And I hope that Owner Wallet and other companies, ecosystems, will do their best to make the global crypto adoption happen. Thanks for your attention. Our team is here for both days of the summit. We'll be happy to talk to you in person. Thanks a lot. And now we have about 3 minutes for your questions. I'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, hi.
I've got a question. Do you guys support native Solana transactions into and out of the wallets?
I'm not sure. Could you please repeat some echo?
Yeah. Do you guys support native Solana transactions in and out of your wallets?
Solana was added about 2 weeks ago, so yeah, you can utilize Solana and Solana tokens with our app. The app is non-custodial wallet, so you control the seed phrase and private keys.
Perfect, thank you.
Someone else who is not sleeping after the lunch?
You said that you launch a utility token. I want to ask you, what's the cover for your utility token or stable coin?
We are planning to issue these tokens, but could you please repeat the question? What's
the cover for your utility token or a stable coin? For example, for eGold, it's gold in the bank. And what do you have for covering your utility coin?
For covering where it's going to be utilized, you mean?
No. I don't mean utilizing. I mean that how should we trust your utility coin or stable coin? What's the cover of your stable coin?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Talking about stable coin, that would be a utility one for our customers to pay some fees and get some bonuses inside our ecosystem, and probably sort of airdrops and things like that. It will be based on the main net of some well-known network, say Ethereum, maybe Solana. We are still considering and thinking about it. Talking about security token. That's why I've mentioned that we are paying a lot of attention to reputational and legal risks, as we actually waiting for, a massive number of companies will be ready. Not the companies, countries will be ready to accept such type of investments for their citizens, and that will be the first countries where we will go to sell our security token. So it won't be globally available, listed on dozens of exchanges at the same time. No, it's not our path. That's why we're still structuring it. Thanks.
Do you have any restrictions for any countries in your platforms?
Yeah, definitely we do. Like I said, in answer to the guy before, the wallet itself is non-custodial, so there are, not so much restrictions. You can use it everywhere where you have internet. And so, of course, when you want to buy or sell crypto using using the cards or using STPay account, of course there are restrictions applied on our level and on our partners level as well. But we have pretty much global coverage. I think the time is up. Thanks again for your attention. That was a pleasure. Have a good day.
Okay, Ivan, thank you very much. It was very nice, the Q&A part two. Thanks a
Thanks.
lot. Thank you very much. So, what is Web3 and how does it actually impact the digital markets? Now we're going to talk about it. We're going to have a panel and we were talking about this topic. So let me introduce our panelists here. Our first panelist, Moti Povolotsky, co-founder of K-World. Let's welcome him. Hi, Moti. You can have a seat here. And our second panelist is Bedri Keskin, the managing partner at Crypt. So let's also welcome Bedri Keskin. Hoş geldiniz. Merhabalar. And our third panelist will be Andrei Blumenthal, the worldwide managing director of Go Mobile. Please welcome Andrei as well. Hi, welcome.
Thank you, nice to meet you.
All right, and this panel will be moderated by Amir San Roberto. Please also welcome our moderator here. So do you want to sit here or here?
Here's better.
Okay, all right. Welcome.
Thank you all very much for joining after this busy lunch. We're extremely excited. All the panelists right here, we leave, we celebrate, we embrace Web3. And right now, just to give a quick introduction, I'm going to start with myself. My name is Samir, co-founder of Signify. We make investments. If every single panelist, could you please give a quick story of who you are and what you do?
Yes, hi everybody. My name is Andrei Blumenthal. I'm a worldwide managing director of the marketing agency called Go Mobile.
Thank you. Bedri?
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Hi everyone, I am Bedri. I am manager partner of Crypt and also I am growth manager of the Uzman Coin.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Matthew. I'm co-founder of K-World. We're building an NFT game based on Solana.
Thank you, Modi. So everyone has heard about the concept of Web3. There are so many confusions. There are digital assets. There is blockchain. There is cryptocurrency. And some people have hard time understanding about definition of Web3. So since we're on the panel and we are in the industry, could you please, each one of you, identify or define what is Web3 from your standpoint, starting with Andrei?
Yeah, of course, very great question. I think that Web 3.0 enables the future where distributed users and machines can interact with different kind of counterparties via a substrate of peer-to-peer networks, yes, without the need in third-party data. So since the Web 3.0 has bring the demand for transparency, it helps to negotiate with some platforms directly, yes, for the customers, and of course it has some advantages and disadvantages. For example, as we're talking about the biggest opportunity and at the same time the biggest concern for the marketers, it is how we can interact and how to increase the user experience, yes, during their communication with our product. So I think that the key thing is the machine learning, because it can allow the limitless information from the web and the app. So also it can distinguish any information, and we can receive only the accurate one, so to come up with some accurate provisions for it. So I think that's, for me, is Web 3.0.
Yeah, but the same question. On top of that, why do we have to care about Web3?
Actually, yeah, I don't want to talk about what is the Web3 or because everyone in this room, I think, know what is the Web3. We should talk about why do we care Web3, because Web3, I think, is freedom for us. A lot of Web3 companies take our data and sell, and they don't give any shit about that. That's why Web3 can give our data privacy, data security, and also sharing of the income. For example, Facebook, a lot of take data and sell, and then they earn a lot of money from us. But we don't take any share of this. But with the, actually, thanks to Web3, we can take off the share of the money and or whatever you need about the platform, and we can more freedom of this platform, I think, thanks to Web3.
Okay, thank you. Modi?
So the way I look at it is, for me, the most exciting thing is decentralization. So in the perfect Web3 environment, you will have freedom of choice, freedom of speech, freedom to act, pay, and do as you like. And this is what I think is very exciting for me, Web3, and why we should, every one of us should care about Web3.
Fair enough. Well, since the rise of Bitcoin in 2008, until this point, there were so many projects in the industry, and they keep emerging and popping up. Some of them are the promising ones. During your experience in Web3, could you share with projects that you have believed, you have invested, and you joined probably in making it happen? What are the top 2 to 3 projects in Web3 that got your attention?
Myself?
Starting with Modi, please.
So in general protocols?
Pretty much in all, across all verticals, that you believe they had a story, they had a promise, they got the massive user adoption, and people believed in that.
So when myself and our team, we looked at the ecosystem, we found that the perfect entry point to the world of Web3 was probably Solana. Solana was fast, it was cheap, it was scalable. You could actually write your own code that was efficient to run. And actually, the way we launched our product was through an NFT sale that was cheap, it was reliable, and there was actually no wasted money in fees. So for example, if we take Ethereum, right? One of the biggest problems with Ethereum is the gas fee that you had to pay, especially back in the day when a lot of people were transacting during the bull market, people were buying and selling. So if I wanted to buy an NFT, it would cost me $250. What would happen if transaction failed? $250 went to the trash. So for us, it was very revolutionary. We're actually one of the first ones to launch there, and our experience was really awesome. Now, of course, on a global scale level, we're still not there to interact with, for example, an iPhone with Web3, because it's simply not there. You have to go through the App Store, and you have to have certain regulations that you abide by, which we all believe is the end game, but it's still not quite there.
Can I follow up, give a question? As far as I know, Solana had a new phone, which is decentralized, as they said. Can you talk a little bit more about their phone and the concept, if you know anything about it?
I don't think that I would be able to have a very strong opinion on the phone just yet, because we didn't really have our hands on it. We didn't see what it does or what its capabilities are. And I'm not even entirely sure that, I believe it still runs natively on Android. So I don't think that they've invented anything too far away from that specifically. So
fair point, thank you. Bedro, what are the projects? Yes, go ahead.
Actually, I want to add something, because when we talk about Web3, we should talk about the decentralized world. When we talk about Solana, I can't see any decentralized world, as you know. That's why we should focus on the more Ethereum or more decentralized world. I want to add something. I don't want to open the new discussion point, but I need to add this. And also, we can give a lot of example about Web3 application. For example, mirror.xyz, or we can give, I think a lot of people using now Brave browser. I think you should, if you shouldn't use it, you should Brave because Google take your data and sell or use for your manipulation, then you take never. When you use Brave browser, you take BAT, B-A-T token, then you can sell or you can share with the content producer. And this is the beautiful of the Web3, I think. We can share all of this.
Okay. Andre, what are the projects that you're passionate about that deserve your attention?
Personally, I'm love in our tech products. It's called Go Predicts, you know. So we've been developing it for 3 years, and when we haven't even have an idea about Web 3.0, so it allows big companies to grow faster because it can predict the future LTV and optimize the buying for the highest LTV possible for the users. Yes. So it works on the protocol Web 3.0 because it doesn't need any third-party data. So it works only with the data that the person himself delivers through the in-app events, for example, yes, and optimize the buying thing through it.
Okay. So my question to the audience, who doesn't have a social media account? Raise your hands. So
Cool.
everybody does have an account, be it Instagram, be it LinkedIn, or anywhere else. Bedre, given your expertise as an expert in Web3, how can we take Web2 users, be it LinkedIn users, Facebook users, that manipulate our data and get them to become Web3 user in social media? Do you know any examples in the industry that succeeded or trying to succeed on that mission?
Yes. Actually, this is a very good question. Thank you for asking this because we need to focus on the social media and marketing industry for the Web3 because Web2 related marketing and media more than, or for example, textile or infrastructure gibi no problem, that's all. I think we need, if we want to do jump of the Web2 from the Web3, we need to open the new blockchain account, for example, MetaMask or etc. And we need to learn some crypto stuff. For example, if you don't know Bitcoin, if you don't know Ethereum, if you don't know Solana or Avalanche, you can join. For example, when I say to you, you should use Brave, you need the BAT token, BAT token wallet for the using. That's why, first of all, you need to learn crypto, you need to learn how to work blockchain, you need to learn what is effects to our lives to blockchain, and then you can jump off the Web3, Web 3.5 or Web 4, whatever. That's all I think.
But other sort of any projects that are trying to succeed?
Actually, Mirror XYZ or Steemit. We know, I think we all know Medium. Medium is a blog platform, like a blog spot.
Right.
But Steemit is the same of the Medium, but not the Web2. This is a Web3. When you use Steemit and produce content about crypto, blockchain, or healthcare, whatever you need, whatever you want, then you can take the token, and if you want to sell and earn money, or you can share off the other content producer. This is the how to use, or how to affect, or how to reach up Web2 or Web3.
Okay. To follow-up question for Andre. So we spoke briefly about NFT and metaverse. How can we utilize these concepts in the avenue of digital marketing? And do you have or do you know any sort of cases that are successful, and what not to do when utilizing NFTs in metaverses and vice versa?
Okay, very nice question. In terms of digital marketing, I think, so if we're talking about the Web 3.0, so not only NFTs, but also augmented reality things need to be developed and have more access towards our life, because I think they can give more enhanced thing for user experience. Yes, for example, if we're talking about the era of Web 2.0, yes, everybody knows about the dynamic sites. And I think that during the Web3, they will be transformed something like into meta malls. For example, everybody knows Amazon, yes? So when you go to the e-com, you will go just in online, like a metaverse thing, like the Walmart, and choose from the shelf what you want. So I think that's the future, yes, and our personal experience will be much higher. The problem is that we don't have the third-party data. So I think that the question arises how can we effectively target the audiences? So from my point of view, the brands have to make their own data, yes, to know their customers better, and to use some different kind of variety of sources in terms of making their personalized content, yes. I think that's the answer.
Fair point. Mori, this is slightly difficult question and very sensitive question. So Bedra spoke about Mirror and Stimit, the core of decentralization in Web3 and social media context. Andre spoke about the NFTs and their utilities and metaverse. There is one core component called data protection. And during our conversation, you mentioned a very fantastic case study related to Instagram. If you could give a correlation, how Instagram or Web2 companies and social media in particular take advantage of users and how we could prevent that from happening in Web3. With an example of Instagram.
So, for example, the story that I used as an example was basically I was chatting with my fiance and we were talking about a wedding dress and I just mentioned a few things. Next thing you know, I go on Instagram and I see a wedding dress for sale. And I thought to myself, pretty bad because my data was sold without my knowledge, and not only was it sold without my knowledge, I didn't opt into it. Even though they say that it's in the terms and services, they kind of trick you into, no one's really gonna read 20 pages of terms and services, especially when we're talking about things that are so messaging applications that everyone uses and they're so out there. So one of the things like, I'll go and I'll talk about something else and I'll join it. So for example, myself and my friend were talking about a crypto conference back in 2017. And back then it was all about Bitcoin and Bitcoin was the main thing. And the whole conversation was about programmable money and money of the future. And we had a look and the price for the ticket was quoted in dollars and the only way to pay was with a credit card. So that was a funny example, right? Like you're going to a conference, future of payments, and you can only use a credit card to go and understand about this new payment system, right? And so like, again, data and like our personal data, we're talking about Web3, and I'm sure a lot of the audience don't actually understand what that means because there isn't actual applications of these ideas. But I think that a time will come where we will be having this choice of opting into some sort of a program and getting paid for this program.
So that's the attention economy, but do you have any examples or any companies that are trying to succeed the concept that you're delivering?
I do believe that Brave browser tried to do this, Brave.
Okay.
They have all sorts of mechanisms inside where you can actually opt in and out. I believe that it was briefly spoken about earlier.
Fair enough.
But I myself am not so familiar with the Brave protocol. I do understand that its concept and they're trying to protect the user and they're trying to give as much rights as possible through cryptography. This is my understanding of the protocol.
Okay, Bedra, please.
I want a little quick tips for who wants to jump off the Web 2 from the Web 2 Web 3. Just buy Ethereum name service. If you buy Lidl or cheaper Ethereum name service, then you can start join the Web3 world. For example, if you have a Ethereum name service, you can join the Lens protocol. Maybe have you ever heard Lens protocol? I don't know, but you should learn about it because new social media or new digital world created to Web3 world, I think. Just by Ethereum name service, I think.
I do have a follow-up question, but before I do that, I have a question for the audience. How many of you work in Web 2? Please raise your hands. Okay, very few people, like 4 or 5. How many of you are trying to work in Web 3 or you work in Web 3? Please raise your hands. Even better. Who is looking for funding?
We can raise.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, Modi, given your expertise and experience, I have seen scores of gaming projects that are looking for funding. If you could give a gesture of some kind of advice, given your understanding of the concept in play to earn or gaming or whatsoever, for those companies looking for funding, what would you advise them?
I would definitely advise anyone going into Web3 to actually have a prototype. That's probably the best advice you could give. There is not much difference between marketing your product in Web 2 and marketing your product in Web 3. The underlying, essentially you're trying to acquire users who enjoy your product. Although the entry level to Web 3 gaming is much higher than Web 2 because Web 3 you've got to download the wallet. Sometimes you have to interact with it on your laptop and not your phone alone. Whereas if I just want to play Clash of Clans, I can just pull out my phone and download it through the App Store. So working product probably is some sort of a prototype and a vision for a user acquisition that is as seamless as what you would get right now on Apple. And that's the only way you're going to onboard people because most people, the reason Apple is so successful is solely because of the user experience. And that's what we believe.
Okay. Well, my follow-up question for Bedre and for Andre, for you too. There are several startups that are starting or have started their journeys in Web3. How to promote Web3 project, especially startup, with limited funding using Web2 products or platforms based on your experience? Bedre.
I can give little short answer, just build community. If you have a build community or if you have a strong community, you can reach a lot of things. For example, if you have a $10,000 and you can spend on the Facebook advertising or Twitter influencers, but you can give Discord from Discord or etc. You can do airdrop and you need to build strong community if you want to do some successful, if you want to do build some successful company, I think.
Okay, thank you. Andre?
Yeah, so I think if we're talking about the projects that started from Web 2 and now they're Web 3, I don't know a lot of them because I think that if we're talking about the projects on Web 3, they have to start with a different kind of working with protocol, and the audiences for them differs for now. Because you know that the blockchain and the Web3 don't go into our lives on the everyday basis for now. I believe in the future, but for now, no. So not so many products, but I think there are several of them. And the actual thing is, if you want to win the market, yes, and now you have the Web 2 product, it's better to start to change it to Web 3 because I think in a year or two there will be much less product on Web 2 because only on the audience and the incrementation of blockchain things.
Fair point. Well, I do have several more questions, but I want to open up the floor for the audience. For those who have questions, please raise your hand. Choose the panelists. Yes, please, sir. Yes, go ahead. For Andre, please. So, just a question. where does machine learning come into play in the context of metaverse?
Okay, so as I have mentioned, machine learning, it's the thing, it's like the subtraction of the deep learning things, and the machine learning helps us to take the whole information from different kind of resources and analyze it, and so make the predictions of what the people or clients would do in the future. So if we're talking about the metaverse, I think it's the same thing. So if we'll put machine learning system or algorithm on the Web3 protocol, yes, it will help us to predict which user will use certain kind of skin if we're talking about the gaming, or which app will be downloaded in the, for example, 7-day period. So I think that the key thing and the future, if we're talking about the Web3, is the machine learning and the developers who can understand how to work on it, they will win the future.
Okay. Other questions, please, raise your hand. There is somebody at the back, please, if we could hand over the microphone.
Hi everyone. Does any real Web3 application need a token or a coin? Couldn't we imagine a Web3 ecosystem without a token?
That's a fantastic question. Could we not imagine Web3 without any token?
I think no, because if you want to share all of the data or all of the income, you need to create a token, or you need to choose US dollar or other countries' money. But for example, for me, I don't trust any country's money. I trust Bitcoin or Ethereum. But if you want to share all of the income, you need to build your own token, and you will share this token. I can imagine that.
So the token has economic value that pushes the economy forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Modi, do you happen to have any ideas?
I think that the key here is open economy. So you're asking whether we can all use one token, if that is the question, right? Like the question was why. So like think of games, right? Think of any game that you play. It has its own economy that is measured. So the token measures that same economy, and you as a player, if you amassed a certain amount of wealth and you want to have, you want to exchange that wealth for a different kind of wealth in a different game, then you need those tokens, whether tokens or items or whatever that might be, or NFT that represents wealth. You can't just have dollar value measuring that, because you're not getting paid in the game using a dollar. So it doesn't really make sense like that. So sometimes you do need a measure of a count of some sort in-game that is different than that of what you're trying to trade with. Open economy, I think, is the key here, and for that to work, you need different tokens.
Okay. Andre, do you have any thoughts? Can we have any project without the token to push it forward?
Personally, I don't think so. So I think that the token enhances the economy of the project, yes. So in terms of Web3 and different kind of gaming, yes, which are built on the Web3, you have to make the community and from the start, yes. So and token helps to build the community. So I think that the previous answer was very full, yes, so. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. One last question, anybody?
I have the mic already here. Here, I have the mic already with me.
Please.
Thank you so much for the mic. What we understood today from this beautiful panel is that decentralization and token and cryptocurrency are the two major pillars of Web3. Don't you think that while almost most of the governments are against cryptocurrency and they don't like decentralization, that's gonna be the biggest obstacle through the adoption?
So that's the very deep philosophical question. How do we deal with governments?
I can give first answer. I think I think in 2009 or 2010, every government against the Bitcoin. But now some governments or some countries take Bitcoin, like El Salvador. And also a lot of countries want to take some benefit of the Web3 technologies or crypto technologies. That's why if we push our governments or if we push our communities, we can create some believing about the Web3 technologies or cryptocurrencies. It's about us, I think.
Okay. Andre, do you have any ideas?
Personally, I think that it's a very hard question for now to answer, but I think I can share some thoughts at our booth, because I think it will be with not
Because
our
of
timing, yes.
Fair enough. Modi, in 35 seconds, do you have any thoughts?
It's a very tough question you threw out here. Look.
Just push the government.
Look, I don't think that. I think that we always evolve, and I think that like if it's useful, if people see value, more and more people are introduced to this thing, even if it's only available in a small location, small enough area, and people will eventually inherently move there. If the economy sees value in it, they will bring it into that area, and then other countries will see, hey, we want a pie of this, so we will also be accept this. So like inherently, if it has value, it will grow, and you cannot stop it. No man can stop innovation, and no single man can stop the adoption of things that bring value to humanity. And I think this is the real breaking point here. If it's real, if it has substance to it, it will evolve in itself.
Yeah. Indeed, just like to conclude, the innovation, the willingness to cross the line, to bring something new. And I believe the audience that is interested in Web3, we're all here to celebrate, to breathe, and make Web3 great again. I want to thank you all for this fantastic panel. I want to thank Blockchain Economy Istanbul Summit, and thank you all for your time for listening. So we have, I think, we're done.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the moderation.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ses açalım. Thank you very much for the great moderation, Amir-san, and thank you for the panelists for giving detailed information, Moti, Andre, and Bedri. Now we will move to our next keynote speaker. Bijan Mihriman will be coming here. Yes, please, let's give a large applause for him. He is the CEO of AT Trade, and he will be talking about an overview in trading methods. So Bijan will be coming here. I think they are doing the microphones, so I hope you're all doing fine after the lunch break.
Hello? Yeah. So you hear me now? Okay, finally. Hello everybody. My name is Bijan Mehraban, and I have been in the world of cryptocurrencies since 2016. And in 2019, I founded my own personal project, which is ATA. It is a sophisticated trading assistant platform that is designed to assist traders. You may be curious on what ATA exactly is, but don't worry, we will get to that. Now, let's get down to our business. Come on. In the limited time that I have here with you today, I would like to share my view why trading cryptocurrency is an important part of blockchain economy. And then I would like to take you through the journey that traders take part in. From amateurs who start trading using only indicators to when they get to know classic price action methods, and then when they dive into more intricate concept of how markets move with the influence of financial and institutional traders. And at the end of my talk, I would like to share my solution to a common obstacle that traders face every day. The blockchain economy has brought us all together, and I'm really humbled to have the opportunity to share my 2 cents with you. Among the many amazing opportunities that have arose from blockchain technology, trading cryptocurrency is one with an undeniable potential of potential of a considerable income. Before coming here, I was just looking CoinMarketCap website, and then I saw that on 21st July, on top 10 exchanges, more than $30 billion of cryptocurrency was trading there. That's why I'm saying that trading cryptocurrency is an important part of blockchain economy. Whether you are a trader or not, my goal here today is to give you a new perspective on trading cryptocurrencies. I'm sure many of you here are amazing traders, and I can say that most traders start trading cryptocurrency just using indicators. The reason that traders start their trading journey just with indicators is firstly due to the fact that we humans tend to mostly look for guidance with binary nature. I mean, they're looking for yes or no answer. They want to know if they should buy or sell. New traders believe that when it comes to indicators, there are no ambiguities. Of course, new traders in the beginning days, but little by little, they change their minds. Let me just show you an example. As you can see here, it's a simple indicator, MACD. It gave us a great signal, and a great profit was taken here. But in the next slide, you see, it gave us another signal, but it failed miserably. And if you were in this position, you had to bear a loss. You know, as indicators collect data from accumulation of averages, and since the price fluctuates more in lower time frames, especially in ranging zones, indicators start giving us false signals. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that indicators are useless. I myself have even used indicators to come up with some unpredictable predictions. Back in 2019, just after BTC crashed in 2018, I just came with this analysis, and I published this analysis on my trading view. When BTC was dead, it was 5K, and I predicted that it could be 10K, and it happened. So that time I think I had a lot of guts just to use some indicator. So I'm saying that I myself have used indicators, and by my talking, I'm not saying that indicators are useless. I myself use them. As you witnessed in the previous slide, the MACD indicator, when it was in ranging zone, it didn't perform well as it performed in trends. And as you can see here, we have a ranging market. Most traders start trading, buying low at the support line, and then they sell high at the resistance. They do it again and again and again until the price breaks out. Once the price breaks out, we can see an exponential movement from the top or from the bottom. So, he doesn't like me. It doesn't go forward. So see, when the price breaks out, we can expect an exponential movement. See, I'm making a puzzle for you. First, the crypto traders start with using indicator. Then they get to know classic price action strategies. The interesting part is this. Imagine that you're at this instant. The question, do you buy here or sell? I'm sorry, do you buy or sell? None of them? What do you do here? So, the average Joe would tell you, you'd have to be insane to buy in the middle of this nerve-wracking dump. But see what happens next. Wow. If you had bought there, you could have taken a great profit. You know, we have got some traders that they set traps in these zones in order to open a position at the lowest possible point. Isn't this crazy? Let me show you some more examples. Look at this here. So you know what happens. The price taps into the demand zone and it bounces right back up. You know, this is not a classic price action support zone, as the price has previously punctured through this zone multiple times. And let's see the other example. You see, it again bounces back up. Now let me give you a quick and concise reason why traders set traps in these areas. Look, we have a rally, and then a base, and then a powerful spike in price. There is a hypothesis that it says this powerful spike in price could not have been caused by regular traders. This powerful spike is believed to be caused by institutional traders. This powerful spike is caused by an enormous influx of cash into the markets, and usually done by large financial institutions. The interesting part is, while the institutional traders, the financial institutions, are placing their orders in the base zone, some of the orders do not get filled. And once the price reaches back to this zone, they get filled, and we see another growth in price. Whether the financial institutions, the institutional traders are the reason for placing the orders or not, this is what most traders believe. Therefore, people tend to place orders and buy into the coin. And you know, when a lot of people believe in something and they start buying in the demand zone, it happens and it goes up. Most traders are consistently looking out for these zones because of the extremely high win rate that they can get from them. But the problem is, the only problem that traders face is, despite how often these opportunities arrive, traders fail to detect them. And once they do it, it is just too late. If a trader trades based on indicators, price action, classic price action, or any other trading strategy, the question is, can a trader analyze the market 24 hours, 7 days a week? This was one of my pet peeves in the past. Traders simply spent way too much time in front of the screen just to find opportunities to open trades. And after a while, they get restless and impatient. And the amateur ones start opening risky positions. If a trader trades based on indicators, price action, or any other trading strategy, even about a golden zone that I previously talked about, the only important thing for a trader is that they want to find potential positions based on the trading strategies before it's too late. You know what happens way too often? The trader opens a chart and he sees, wow, the price went up to the moon, and my strategy, my setup has worked here. But I was not in the chart of this crypto. This crypto was not in my watch list. And don't forget that getting left behind from a profitable trade hurts more than incurring a loss. Do you believe it? Yes? Getting left behind from a profitable trade hurts more than incurring a loss. And in this scenario, traders end up saying, if I was in this position, I could have been in a great profit. That's why I developed and started my project ATA, which is a sophisticated trading assistant platform that can detect traders' strategies and notify them when they set up, their strategy is detected, and it can give them opportunities to trade. ATA can take away all those if-onlys that traders say to themselves every day. This system consistently analyzes the market based on the trader's own strategy. And it eradicates the trader's last shred of anxiety or fear of missing out. Thank you very much for listening to me. In the limited time I had here, I just tried to deliver let's say, a useful concept on trading cryptocurrency. If you have any question, please do not hesitate, because I would be more than happy to answer all your questions. Thank you very much. So, any question about my project? Any question like this? Is there? Yes. Yes, if I can hear you.
Um, I learned from trading from my friend. He was a mentor of mine a couple of years ago. Now I'm trading. I manage investors fund. The question is, my friend lost, I guess, a lot of money in the present, downturn. He's not trading right now. He is holding money in USDT. But I don't understand him. Why? Is it because of fear? A lot of people are holding in stable coins. But we trade and we earn money. Is there something that we don't understand about risks? Or are they smarter, like the ones who are not trading right now and waiting for something huge, Yeah, what's the strategy here?
Yeah.
What should we careful about?
Let me just tell you
What
something.
kind of risks do we have?
The art of a trader is not to do trading sometimes. Sometimes, if you do not do anything, it is better. That's what I can tell you. Or maybe your friend is taking this strategy. If he was a good trader, he knew that sometimes a trader strategy is not to do anything because he doesn't know the nature of the market. Any other questions? So, thank you very much and goodbye.
Thank you very much for
No
the trading
problem.
methods.
No problem.
Thanks a lot for your speech. May I take you?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So, Bijan Mihriman talked about the trading methods, which is also very important, especially nowadays. Sometimes not trading is better, is said. So, let's go on with our next keynote speaker, Stelios Eleftheriou. And he's the managing director of Nagax, and he will be talking about navigating Web3 in a bear market. This is also a very important point. Welcome. I hope I just pronounced it correctly.
That's correct.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. So, I just recently joined NagaX, so I will be just telling you about my own personal experience with crypto. In the past, I worked in various financial services firms, so I got exposed to crypto early, you could say. I joined in 2017 as a trader, and you know the saying that everyone is a genius during a bull market? So I thought I was a genius because I entered at a time where it was a bull market and everything was going up. But then when the bear market hit, I got wrecked. So, because at that time I joined purely for price speculation, and when the prices plummeted, there was nothing for me to do. So I just neglected my coins between 2018 and 2020. So around 2021, I kept hearing about prices going up, and something that got my attention was Binance's BNB coin that skyrocketed. And at that time, Binance came with its BSC chain. So I decided to look into it, and I went through the DeFi rabbit hole. I discovered Web 3.0 and NFTs, but so before we talk about DeFi and NFTs, I think it's important to talk about Bitcoin. To me, Bitcoin is like a series of regrets. So I saw, for example, Bitcoin at $500. I didn't buy because I thought I missed the train. Then I regretted not buying at 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, and so on. But during bear markets, you have people that are against Bitcoin that come and say, oh, Bitcoin is now minus 60% from all-time high. Bitcoin is dead. I told you so. And there's a funny website, 99 Bitcoins, that has set up a page that shows every time people declare Bitcoin dead. And apparently, so far, it died 461 times. Next, we have the Bitcoin rainbow price chart from Blockchain Center. And what's important here is that you know that there are Bitcoin halvings every 4 years. So in between these halvings, we have bear and bull markets. Of course, no one can time the market precisely, but what's important to know is that no bear market and no bull market lasts forever. And this is very interesting because, as you can see, 6 to 7 years ago, Bitcoin dominance was around 90%. And as time progressed, altcoins kept growing. Now Bitcoin dominance is around 40%. And what this means is that people discover Bitcoin, they enter for the price speculation, but then they diversify to altcoins, and then they go to DeFi and NFTs. And, sorry. Okay, so which leads us to the battle of the chains. So, of course, Ethereum started it with its chain, and it's still the biggest chain. But there are some issues with the Ethereum platform. My colleagues touched on it earlier in the panel discussion, the high transaction fees. So layer 1 solutions like Binance's BSC, Polygon, Avalanche, Phantom, etc. came up and solved that problem. And they also gave too much liquidity incentives, which brought lots of farmers doing yield farming on their chain. So crypto and NFTs are moving mainstream. Influencers like Gary Vee are pushing NFTs. We get huge payment companies like PayPal and Skrill making it easy for people to trade cryptos. So now that people enter in bull cycles, it's just not price speculation anymore. Because in bear markets, you have now DeFi, and people are starting to play with DeFi a lot. So every day, new people join, they learn, and they stay. Before we go over what Web 3.0 is, we need to understand what Web 1 is and what Web 2 is. So with Web 1, we just had static pages. Basically, you could just go online and read and could not interact. With Web 2.0, the social media era, you could interact, create content, but the important thing is that you did not have ownership. And the lion's share of the monetization was received by the centralized entities like Facebook, etc. What's revolutionary about Web 3.0 is that ordinary people are getting IP. So via smart contracts to NFTs, in-game items, virtual land, etc., people are getting ownership. Of course, there are lots of people who make fun of Web 3.0, and they come up with these right-click save as memes. And to me, this reminds me of the early stages of the internet, where people were saying the internet will never catch on, it's just a fad, it will go away. And there's a funny story, there's a viral video of one of my favorite comedians, David Letterman, who said that, who was interviewing Bill Gates, and Bill Gates in the 90s was trying to explain to him that the internet is revolutionary, it will change everything. And David Letterman was making fun of him, saying that we have the radio, we have other means, we don't need the internet, and he was mocking him. So this reminds me of people mocking Web 3.0 right now. But is Web 3.0 full of hype? Probably is, yes. However, should we embrace it? I think some huge corporations give us some clues, like Facebook rebranding to Meta. Like you have Visa buying a CryptoPunk. You have Disney announcing their Web 3.0 accelerator program. And Web 3.0 projects allow users to to continue during bear markets because there are more stuff to do. It's just no longer price speculation. So what it means is that we can all be users, owners, and developers. But Web 3.0 comes without issues? The answer is, of course, not. There are complexities of figuring out how to fund a decentralized wallet like MetaMask, how to set it up. It's a wild, wild west with hacks and scams and rug pulls by anonymous teams, leaving the people, the ordinary people, with no, let's say, means or how to get the funds back. There is a deep knowledge needed, which is creating a barrier to entry to newbies. And there is lack of regulation. And because of that, we see even centralized entities being reckless with client funds and not having to answer to anyone. Now, sorry. Various companies come with their own answer to these issues. I will just explain what our answer is. We want to position ourselves as a newbie-friendly exchange. We want to focus on simplicity, offering simple applications and education to break down the complex crypto topics. We are EU regulated, and we are looking to add more regulation for the client's safety and for their peace of mind. We are launching an NFT marketplace. We're launching the beta version next week and the full version in August. And we're utilizing lazy minting to avoid the crazy Ethereum fees. And finally, we're actively looking to onboard other Web 3.0 properties. So I think we're all going to make it. So let's connect and build on Web 3.0. Thank you very much.
So,
yeah, any questions from anyone? No questions?
Questions? Yeah, waiting for the questions, okay.
All right, I guess I was clear enough. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
guys.
that was clear enough.
You.
Thank you very much, Stelios, for your presentation. Thanks a lot. It was very useful. Thank you. So, Managing Director of Nagax was with you. Thank you very much, Stelios, again. Now we will continue with our next keynote speaker, Andrei Nesev. He will be talking about the tokenization of startups and real sector. And he is the co-founder of Turkey. Please welcome Andrei. So Andrei, the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much. Okay guys, I see you a little bit tired because it's so difficult things we are talking about every day, about so difficult things. My speech, it will be so shortly because I have one scene, and second, I bad speak in English. This is my first time on the stage when I speak English. That's why I'm a little bit nervous. Please, a little bit close to me. Yeah, okay, thank you so much. Yeah, and I want to tell you about the, why real sector, why the startups, where every time they're speaking about the crypto market, technology and something like that, but we forgot about the fiat world. And our goal to make the simple to understanding for every people what they can do with the crypto market. Why they need the crypto, why they need the tokens, what they can do with that. And I'm talking about the businesses, all the businesses. Well, I'm talking about the real estate, I'm talking about the energy business, I'm talking about the community businesses, doesn't matter. But core idea to make something different, what we need to give them, why these guys come to us, why they need tokenization. Because first we need to understand why the business need it. That's why I have just one idea, and I try to explain you that. We have a team, we have advisors, we have the partners who help us to make the strategies, to help us to make some tokenomics and blah, blah, blah, things like that, doesn't matter. And our goal, they provide simple access. Everything, we put the focus to the simple processes. Because the crypto market is the so difficult part for everybody. It's the so difficult part for the businesses. And I think you understand me. And now, if we're talking about the token, like that, of course, tokenization is so difficult parts of this moment. Of course, we need to understand legal zone. We need to understand what we need to do with the legal, because this is the so important part. And after that, we start to make the services, marketing, listing. We need to find communities. We need to make them so many things to present some ideas to crypto market. And first, of course, we have like the hype with the NFTs. Yeah, there's some pictures and blah, blah, blah, things like that. But for us, NFT, it's like a document when we can use the data set inside. Not just a picture. It's cool when you use like a data set. And we have the idea with our partners, with the big vision company. We were thinking about not metaverse, we're thinking about the social network, but decentralize the social network. When your profile, it will be NFT pass. And when you do something inside, your NFT pass, same every time the upgrades. I think you understand me. And you will have the capitalization in this market, real capitalization, without the bots, without the frauds, without anything like that. That's why we tokenize the products like this. And same, if you come to our stand, you will see the NFT Vine. This is the same, the partners project, and the same, it's not just a picture. If you have the NFT, you have the wine, bottle of the wine, but you don't use that wine, you just use NFT. Wine is just active, and active stay at the wine bank, but you can use so easy to put the NFT inside the market. Okay? Do you understand what I say? It's easy thing. Yeah, it's so easy. Community tokenization. I think the next big thing is the DAO market. DAO market, if you know about DAO market just start now. But with the social systems, if you will tokenize some clubs, some interest, you will have the big instrument in your hand. And of course, for us, tokenization community platforms is the same core idea in our company, what we will do. That's all. That's all, so easy. That's why my core idea, look into the real sector. Try to help the guys who making the business, classical business, who want to try the crypto market, who want to make the money from the crypto, but they don't understand what they need to do to make the tokens and blah, blah, blah, to make the more money. But the core idea, if you make the tokenization, if you have the, for example, if you have the maybe real estate project, doesn't matter, and you want to make more clients, smart clients, of course tokenization will help you. But first, owner of this project, owner of this company need to understand why he need to put this system inside. That's why our goal, we need to provide, we need to tell about the strategies. We help the businesses to understand why they need the tokenization. We will help about the business processes. We will help about the strategies, the economics, smart contracts, and any things what they need. That's why this is my core idea, and this is core idea for all the Tokyo company. If you have some questions, please come to our stage. I will be in the stage today, and I will answer for every your questions. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the attention. Thank you. Bye.
All right, thank you very much for your speech. Now, we will do a fire chat right now. It's about Bitcoin. Is it freedom, money, and hope? Is it all of them? We will see. So, later on. Now we will have our guest of honor here, the Turkish pop star Emre Aydın. Can I invite him on the stage? I think we'll still have some time. All right, so let me talk about the rest of the sessions today. We'll have a fireside chat with Emre Aydın, which will be moderated by Hakan Ateşler. He's also a blockchain evangelist, and as you all know, Emre Aydın is the guest of honor and a Turkish pop star, a well-known pop star. And after that, when it is finished, we'll be with Michael Saylor. And he will be talking about the freedom, money, and hope of Bitcoin. And that will be moderated by Tom Busby and Josh Moran from Crypto Busy. And after that, we'll be having our networking hour. I know we're all looking for that. And there will be the expo visit. And for those who want to come to the VIP party at 6:15 or maybe 6:30, there will be cars that will be taking us to the VIP networking party. So, let's wait.
Ses. Çıkıyor. Merhabalar herkese, hoş geldiniz. Birazdan Emre Aydın da burada olacak. Birlikte kripto paraların şu anki durumunu konuşacağız. Emre Aydın da biliyorsunuz Türkiye'nin en önemli sanatçılarından bir tanesi ama özellikle ekonomi bilgisiyle, kripto paralarla uzun zamandır ilgilenmesiyle de tanıdığımız bir kişi kendisi. Dolayısıyla birazdan o da bizlerle birlikte olacak. Biz uzman coin olarak zaten kendisiyle 2 yıl önce ilk podcastlerimize başladığımız zaman, o zamanlar korona da yoktu, herkes öyle podcast yapmıyordu. Biz yapıyorduk. O zaman ilk podcastlerimizden birini de Emre Aydın'la yapmıştık. Yani kendisi gerçekten belki bu salondaki birçok insandan bile önce kripto paraları araştırmaya başlamış birisi. Dolayısıyla güzel bir söyleşi olacağını düşünüyorum. Tabii bu zamanlarda biraz daha zor bir dönemin içindeyiz kripto paralarda. düşüşler, iflas eden şirketler, bunların hepsi var. Ama kriptoda regülasyon da tam anlamıyla olmadığı için, neredeyse hiç olmadığı için bunların yaşanması normal. Zaten siz de hep duymuşsunuzdur, kriptoda mutlaka ama mutlaka kendi varlıklarınızı kendi cüzdanlarınızda, hatta soğuk cüzdanda tutmanız gerektiği tavsiye edilir. Bunun önemini aslında bu dönemde yaşayarak da öğrenmiş oluyoruz. En önemli konulardan biri sizin varlıklarınızı koruyabilmeniz. Bunu koruyabilmeniz için de nasıl geçmiş zamanda annelerimiz, babalarımız evdeki paralarını belki bankalara bile güvenmiyorken evde böyle küçük kasalar vardı, oraya saklıyordu. Burada da soğuk cüzdanlara koymak özellikle uzun vadeli varlıklar için daha önemli diye düşünüyorum. Sıcak cüzdan dediğimizde zaten borsalar olabilir, başka cüzdan uygulamaları olabilir ama sıcak cüzdanlarda da özellikle artık borsalarda da çoğu borsa güven veriyor. Yani en büyük borsalar en azından artık ciddi şekilde güven verdiği için bu anlamda hani borsalarda tutmaya da %100 tabii garanti diyemeyiz ama birçok anlamda yine eskisi gibi çok riskli değil. En azından bilindik büyük borsalarla ilgili, yoksa hiçbir şey garanti değil bu hayatta, onu belirtelim. Tabii Bitcoin fiyatının da artık 20.000 dolarlarda olduğu bir dönemdeyiz. Bu akşam da FED faiz kararı açıklanacak. Bu kararın ardından da yani muhtemelen biraz daha düşüş olup daha sonra biraz daha bir yükseliş olacak diyebiliriz. Dediğim gibi bekliyoruz. Emre Aydın gelecek. Kripto paralarla ilgili kendisiyle güzel bir söyleşi yapacağız. Bitcoin yatırımı tabii ki vardır. Herhalde vardır. Sorarız. Altcoin'lerle ilgili de yatırımı var mıdır, yok mudur bilmiyorum. Artık onu da sorabiliriz ama Türkiye'de çok ciddi bir altcoin yatırımcı kitlesi olduğunu biliyoruz. Bunların çoğunluğunun da zararda da olduğunu da biliyoruz şu anda en azından. Yani ben de o kişilerden bir tanesiyim, 2017'de girenlerden biri olmama rağmen, ama yani zor zamanlarda dayanabilenler bu sektörde kazanıyorlar. Onu belirtebiliriz. Tabii buyurun.
Mikrofon. Hakan Ateşler, bir kez daha teşekkür ederim. I would like to thank you again one more time. He's the presenter also of Uzmancoin and also a blockchain evangelist. Thank you very much for the pre-speech. And now we're really looking forward to listen to your chat. There will be a fire chat. So ne hakkında konuşacaksınız? Sizden de dinleyelim.
Şimdi
bu kadar krizin içinde Bitcoin'le ne yapacağız, değil mi? Asıl konumuz bu. Krizler dünyasında Bitcoin aslında.
Tabii. Ya şöyle, şunu çok net olarak söyleyebiliriz ki bir kere Bitcoin bir dijital altın. Hatta bazılarına göre, birçoklarına göre de altından da daha iyi bir varlık. Çünkü altının baktığınız zaman şu anda ne bileyim bir altın madeni bulunur dünyada. Mesela çok ciddi bir altın rezervi bulunur. Bu altının fiyatını ciddi şekilde düşürecektir. Ama Bitcoin'de öyle değil. Bitcoin'de belli. Yani bu saatten sonra Bitcoin'in arzının artması madenciler kabul ederse olur. Ama madencilerin kabul etmesi de yani çok düşük bir ihtimal. Çünkü kendileri para kaybedecekler.
Kendi yatırımlarına değer
baltalayacaklar. Kendi yatırımlarını baltalamayacaklarını varsayarsak kabul etmezler. O da yani zaten çoğunluğunun kabul etmesi gerekiyor. Öyle bir iki tane madencinin kabul etmesiyle olacak da bir şey değil. Dolayısıyla arzı sınırlı, arzı bilinen, işleyişi bilinen ve gittikçe de daha güvenli hale gelen bir sistem olduğu için şu anda muhtemelen Bitcoin'den daha güvenli bir para, bir varlık olmayabilir dünyada. Onu söyleyeyim.
Dolayısıyla talep de arttıkça, yani Bitcoin tanındıkça, bilindikçe arz kısmı sabit kalacağı için değerinin de uzun vadede baktığımızda aslında yükselmesi gerekiyor matematiksel olarak, ekonomik bazda bakıldığında.
Şu anda zaten olan bu. Yani 2009'da ortaya çıkmış bir varlıktan bahsediyoruz ve bu zamana gelinceye kadar evet sert düşüşler, sert yükselişler yaşıyor, çok ciddi ters köşeler yapıyor yatırımcılara ama genel büyük resme, ana resme baktığınızda gerçekten sürekli yükseliyor. Ama bu sürekli yükselişe de hani Bitcoin yükseliyor diye bakmak bir yerde doğru ama bir yerde de eksik. Çünkü diğer para birimleri değer kaybediyor. Bitcoin'in yükselişinin en net...
Göreceli olarak değerine bakmak
Tabii
lazım.
ki, tabii ki. Yani şu anda 21 bin dolar civarında. Evet 21 bin dolar bir Bitcoin ama doların da değerinin çok oynak olduğunu artık Amerika'daki enflasyonun da rekor seviyelerde olduğunu düşünürsek ve dünya düzeninin artık ciddi şekilde değiştiğini düşündüğümüzde yani dolar olarak bakmanın da çok doğru olmadığını ben düşünüyorum Bitcoin'e.
O zaman biz de eğer konuğumuz da hazırsa, hazır mıyız? Evet, hazırız. Tekrar anonsunuzu yapacağım. Hakan Ateşler efendim. He will be moderating this session and please welcome our guest of honor, Turkish pop star Emre Aydın.
Teşekkür ederim.
Hoş geldin. Hoş bulduk.
Öyle miyiz? Merhabalar, selamlar herkese.
Evet, tekrardan biraz önce bir girizgah yaptık ama dünya gerçekten ekonomik anlamda zor zamanlardan geçiyor. Yani Türkiye'de enflasyon artıyor. Güney Amerika ülkelerini biz senelerdir zaten konuşuyoruz. İşte Sri Lanka'da olanları gördük, ciddi protestolar da var. Amerika'da, İngiltere'de rekor enflasyon var. Böyle bir dünyada Bitcoin'in değerini sanki yaşayarak da hani senelerdir konuşuyoruz ama yaşayarak da görmeye başladık mı acaba?
Bence henüz başlamadık. Yani bir hedge alternatifi henüz olamadı. Zaten olması da çok düşünülemezdi. Yani biz çok içinde olduğumuz için, çok yakından takip etme şansına sahip olabildiğimiz için, ilgi duyduğumuzdan bir an önce olsun istiyoruz tabii. Artık hani hem Merkez Bankası'na hem yani merkez bankacılığına hem aslında oturmuş klasik bankacılık sistemine, yani blockchain teknolojisi alternatif oluştursun istiyoruz ama çok yeni. Yani market cap'i hala çok yani bilmiyorum
1 trilyon dolar şu anda. 3 trilyon dolardı geçen sene Kasım ayı gibi ama düşüşlerden sonra yarısından fazlası eridi diyebiliriz.
Aynen. Volatil olması da çok doğal. Dolayısıyla yani bu kadar volatil bir varlığın zaten orta vadede dahi hemen bir enflasyon hedge aracı olması çok beklenilemez ama kıt olması, arzının kıt olması, arkasında yani hata herhangi bir kurum olmaması, insan faktörünün olmaması, açık kod olması o anlamda adaptasyon arttıkça, yeni nesil geldikçe, yeni neslin finansal okuryazarlığı da internet sayesinde bilginin hızlı akışıyla arttıkça devam edecektir. Ben çok olumlu taraftayım. Yani bir gün gerçekten bir hedge aracı olacağını düşünüyorum enflasyona karşı.
Şimdi hedge aracı olacağını düşünüyorsunuz. Bir de Bitcoin'in genel dünyanın parası olacağını düşünenler var. Yani siz bu tarafta mısınız? Yani bir dünya parası olacağını, dünyada herkes tarafından kullanılacağını, ticarette işte petrol ticareti bu aralar çok konuşuyoruz, doğalgazlar. Bunların ticaretinde kullanılabilecek kadar ülkelerin parası olabileceğini düşünüyor musunuz?
Ya bu soruyu ben çok düşünüyorum. Yani Bitcoin nedir? Hani hala yani işte kaç sene oldu arada sırada Bitcoin nedir falan diye kendi kendime düşünüyorum. Bu sorunun bence bir cevabı yok. Zaten geleceğe dair hiçbir şeyin net bir cevabı yok tabii ama bugünkü işte ağın hızıyla olabilecek gibi görünmüyor. Fakat bu teknolojik bir mevzudan bahsediyoruz ve an meselesi herhangi bir geliştirme programıyla çok hızlı bir şekilde işte o network hızlanır, transaction'lar hızlanır falan. Yani teknik tarafı hallolur illaki. Şu çatışmayı da henüz yaşamadı. Yani henüz regüle edilmemiş olmakla beraber çoğu ülkede, hatta bütün ülkelerde var olan güçle yani finansal merkez bankacılığıyla daha çatışmadı Bitcoin.
Evet.
Çok hantal işlediği için hukuk, yani devlet hukuku çok yavaş hareket ettiği için ve teknoloji de çok hızlı olduğu için o çatışmayı yaşamadı. Yani o çatışma sonucunda nereye savrulur, ne olur bilmiyorum. Dolayısıyla teknik açıdan baktığımızda evet bir dijital altın olacak. Büyüdükçe daha sağlamlaşacak yeri. Ama para birimi olur mu? Aslında oldu da yani kullanan da kullanıyor şu anda. Yani tam olarak hani petrodolar yıkılır da yerine Bitcoin geçer mi sorusu bence bilmiyorum. Yani o işte bilmiyorum ne Black Swan'lar göreceğiz de neler olacak. Umarım görürüz. Yani çok meraklı ettiğim bir şey benim.
Evet. Şimdi tabii merkez bankaları ile ilgili çatışmadan bahsettiniz. Merkez bankalarının da bütün dünyada bir CBDC çıkarma çalışması var. Yani bilmeyenler için söyleyelim. Merkez Bankası dijital parası deniyor. Bu çatışmanın ilk evrelerinden biri olarak görebilir miyiz bu CBDC çalışmalarını ve şu da söyleniyor. Mesela Avrupa Birliği Merkez Bankası Başkanı çıkmıştı geçen haftalarda. Biz de bir CBDC çıkardık. O da dijital. Bitcoin de dijital, o da dijital gibi bir yorum yaptı. Bu yorumu mesela yorumlamak isterseniz neler
Yani
söylemek istersiniz?
tam tersi olduğunu düşünüyorum. Merkez Bankası dijital paralarının Bitcoin'in temsil ettiği her şeyin tam tersini temsil ettiğini düşünüyorum. Daha çok kontrol imkanı sağlıyor güç sahiplerine. Özellikle vergi konularında filan devletlere çok büyük avantajlar sağlayacaktır. Yani onlar açısından baktığımızda o çok anlaşılabilir bir şey. Ama Bitcoin o kurumların hatalarına mani olmak için var. Yani bugün biz bizim seçmediğimiz, hayatımızda görmediğimiz bir sürü insan, biz Türkiye'de bugün, ya Amerika'dakilere zaten yani gelmeme bile gerek yok. Biz bugün Türkiye'de işte kaçtaydı Fed'in toplantısının?
9'da bugün.
9'da. Onu konuşuyoruz. Onu konuşmaya mecburuz. Bu bir avuç insan, hayatımızda görmediğimiz bir avuç insan parayı yönetiyor. Ve bu insan ne zaman parayı yönetse para kıymetini kaybediyor. Yani para kıymetini kaybediyor ne demek? Bizim emeğimiz, üretimimiz değersizleşiyor. Yaşam standartlarımız düşüyor. Sürekli fakirleşiyoruz. İnsan yapıyor, yani insan yönetiyor ve günün sonunda da çıkıp şey diyebiliyorlar çok rahat bir şekilde. Ben kusura bakmayın enflasyon olacağını düşünmüyordum. Yani biz bu QE'ye girdik ama pandemi zamanı olmaz sanıyorduk. Pardon, çok bilmiyormuşuz enflasyonu. Mesela muhtemelen yakın zamanda da resesyonu tahmin etmemiştik diyeceklerdir. Onların dijital paraları çok da ağırlar bu arada. Bir türlü yetiştiremiyorlar. Değil mi? Yani biz ne zaman röportaj yapmıştık ya? 2,5-3 sene oldu galiba.
Evet.
Üçümüz röportaj yaptığımızda Burak'la varken. O zaman da konuşmuştuk yani podcast'te. Bilmiyorum belki 5 sene sonra, 3 sene sonra ne kadar anons etseler.
Henüz geçen sene işte ECB Başkanı Lagarde şey dedi yani 5 senelik bir zaman veriyoruz dedi.
Aynen.
Onun da bir senesi geçti. Yani hazırlık için aslında belki normal bile dediğiniz gibi bu bürokrasi, bu tür çalışmalar devletlerde ağır işlediği için belki 5 sene aslında çok normal bile sayılacak. Kısa bile olabilir tabii ki. Yani ama tabii teknoloji çok hızlı ilerliyor.
Aynen.
Şimdi şunu da sormak istiyorum. Şimdi El Salvador geçen sene biliyorsunuz Bitcoin'i bir yasal para ilan etti. Ben de oraya gittim ve Bitcoin'de gerçekten böyle oranın yerel yiyeceklerini de alıyorsunuz. Berbere de gidiyorsunuz. Ne bileyim konserlere gidiyorsunuz. Her şeyi yapabiliyorsunuz gerçekten.
Çok güzel bir bölümde o. İzledim ben
Teşekkür
o bölümü.
ederim. Yani her yerde yoktu açıkçası söyleyeyim bunu ama daha yeni olduğu için böyle tam böyle bazı bölgelere girememiş açıkçası. Orada haberi olmayan insanlar bile vardı. Ama böyle bir adım oldu ve birçok ülkede arkasından acaba bunu biz de mi yapsak dediler. Çünkü şimdi mesela insanlar diyor ki işte El Salvador Bitcoin'de zarar etti. İşte 40 binden almıştı şimdi 20 bine düştü ama şöyle de bir gerçek var. El Salvador'un turizminde de %40'lık bir gelişme olmuş ve çok ciddi bir döviz girdisi olmuş. Şimdi bu açıdan da herhalde katkı verdi. Siz yani erken olduğunu söylediniz ama ülkelerin bu anlamda biraz daha sanki enflasyonun büyük olduğu, fazla olduğu, ekonomik anlamda ciddi zorluk çeken ülkeler de çareyi herhalde Bitcoin'de görüyor diye hissetmeye başladım ben. Yani El Salvador tabii çok küçük bir ülke ama.
Evet. Petrodolar sisteminden müzdarip ülkeler. Yani aslında zamanında sömürgemiş bu ülkeler ve yani diğer neredeyse bütün ülkeler gibi hala en azından kültürel ve ekonomik etkilerini üzerinden atamamış ülkeler. İşte bir çıkış yolu arıyorlar. O da El Salvador'da Bitcoin'di.
Evet.
El Salvador devlet bütçesinin %kaçı Bitcoin yatırımı onu bilmiyorum. Ama orada bir işte portföy yönetimi var netice itibariyle.
Çok az.
Çok az. O bence bir PR aracı olarak El Salvador açısından çok mantıklıydı. Yani işte biliyordur devlet başkanı da Bitcoin standart sapmasının çok yüksek olduğunu, çok volatil olduğunu ve düşeceğini falan ama bütçe zaten öyle bir şeydir ya yani devlet bütçesini yaparken de öyle davranmıştır. Çok cesurca ve çok vizyoner bir hareketti bence. Ve zaman içerisinde adaptasyon arttıkça El Salvador'un o yeri de sağlamlaşacak. Arkasında da duruyor bildiğim kadarıyla.
Tabii,
Hatta
tabii.
muhalefet çok
Tabii.
eleştirdi ona rağmen ve çok olumlu bir adım olduğunu düşünüyorum. Yani önemli bir şeydi bence.
Şimdi tabii 2021'deki fiyat yükselişleriyle birlikte çok ciddi bir hype oluştu. Biraz artık bu terimleri de İngilizcesini kullanıyoruz ama
Hype'ın Türkçesi ne?
evet, ya abartı gibi diyebiliriz. Dolandırıcılık olarak da kullanılıyor cümlesine göre ama ya hype biraz kandırmaca gibi. Yani olması gerektiğinden çok daha büyük. Evet.
Neyse, evet.
Şimdi tabii fiyatlar artınca altcoin'lerin sayısında da ciddi bir artış oldu. Yani fiyat olarak değil, altcoin sayısı, herkes değişik yatırımlar yapıyor. Bir an önce hızlı yatırım yapayım, hızlı kazanç sağlayayım, çok kazanayım isteğinde oldu. Bu altcoin'lere olan büyük ilgi, özellikle Türkiye'de de çok ciddi bir altcoin yatırımcısı var. Siz ne görüyorsunuz? Altcoin yatırımlarınız yani çok spesifik sormayayım hangi altcoin aldınız diye, tabii onu sormayacağım ama altcoin yatırımı da yapıyor musunuz yoksa çünkü sadece tek bitcoinciler de var. Ben bitcoin alıyorum başka hiçbir şey
Maksimalistler
almıyorum diyenler de var.
Ben maksimalist değilim. Şuna katılıyorum yalnız maksimalistlerin ya geri gangster'a katılıyormuşum gibi tınlayacak ama Bitcoin'in o Bitcoin'i ayırıp şey diyor ya işte emtia Bitcoin'dir,
Evet,
diğerleri
evet.
stoktur, hisse senedidir diyor ya. Evet yani SEC'nin bakış açısını düşünürsek denetleyemediği şirketlerin halka arzı gibi bir şey altcoin'lerin çoğu.
Evet.
Çok ciddi bir teknoloji, çok önemli. Özellikle Bitcoin'in geliştirilmesinde de payı olduğunu düşünüyorum. Bitcoin çünkü o kadar hızlı hareket edemiyor geliştirme şirketleri
Evet.
falan. Bunlar bayağı bildiğiniz. Yani isim vermeden konuşmaya çalıştığım için zorlanıyorum. Menkul kıymet olduğuna katılıyorum çoğunun. Ama menkul kıymet kavramının hatalı olduğunu düşünüyorum. Yani şimdi SEC'nin menkul kıymetlere uyguladığı politika ne kadar doğru? Şöyle çok basit bir somutlaştırmaya gitmeye çalışayım. SEC bir sürü altcoin şirketini dava ediyor, tehdit ediyor.
Evet.
Ama 7/24 Dogecoin'i hype'layan Elon Musk'la ilgili galiba yeni bir tane şey var. Bir veya iki tane uyarısı var falan.
Hisse senetleriyle ilgili ceza verdiler ama coinlerle ilgili ceza
vermedi. Yani SEC ne kadar etkin? SEC'nin bunlar da insanlardan oluşan kurumlar sonuçta. SEC'nin menkul kıymet politikası ne kadar mantıklı, ne kadar insani, ne kadar yani güya tüketici haklarını koruyor ya falan. O taraf şey. Dolayısıyla evet çoğunun menkul kıymet olduğunu düşünüyorum. Açık kod olduğu için artmaya da devam edecektir ama zaman içerisinde orada da bir enflasyon var. Yani sayısında enflasyon var.
Tabii.
İyi olanlar, teknolojisine gerçekten yatırım yapanlar kalacaktır diye düşünüyorum.
Şimdi tabii siz sosyal medyayı da aslında aktif olarak kullanan birisiniz ve sürekli görüyorum hani coinlerle, kripto paralarla ilgili de dönem dönem tweetler atıyor. Ekonomiyle ilgili daha çok aslında tweetler atıyorsunuz. Ama ciddi bir hayran kitlesi takip ediyor sizi. Aslında kripto paralardan bağımsız olarak müziğinizden ötürü sizi takip eden. Oradaki tepkiler nasıl? Yani siz müzik dışında, sanat dışında tweetler attığınız zaman gelen tepkiler nasıl? Yani ne diyorsun, neden bahsediyorsun diyenler oluyor mu? Tepki gösterenler veya ne diyormuş bir bakayım deyip etkileşime girenler oluyor mu? Ne hissediyorsunuz?
Ya orada şöyle iki tane durum var. Bir tanesi grafik paylaşınca filan herhangi bir makroekonomik veri setinin işte grafiğini paylaşınca ya sen müzisyen değil misin? Bırak bu işleri şarkı paylaş diyen var. Şarkı paylaşınca da abi Bitcoin grafiği yok mu? Bayağı oldu atmayalı diyen var.
Evet.
Dolayısıyla orada hani ben dengeli yürütmeye çalışıyorum. Biraz çok boğmamaya çalışıyorum sosyal medya profillerimi
Doğru,
ama
doğru.
bunu böyle bir hani marka değerini korumak için o kadar atmalıyım, öbürünü bu kadar paylaşım gibi düşünmedim. Benim gerçekten samimi söylüyorum, kişisel ilgim var. Ya Bitcoin'in çok kıymetli bir şans olduğunu düşünüyorum.
Evet.
Yani umarım başarılı olur. Teknik bir problem yaşamazsa da olacak gibi görünüyor. Umarım görürüz başarılı olduğunda. Ben çok sevdiğim için. Ya Bitcoin bana bir sürü şey de öğretti kişisel olarak. İşte ekonomi mezunuyum, sonra bankacı ve blockchain teknolojisinin o teknolojiden türemiş DeFi'nin ne olduğunu anlamaya çalışırken bir taraftan dedim ki ben klasik tarafı da öğrenmeye çalışayım. Bitcoin sayesindedir bu. Bitcoin'e
Evet.
olan ilgim bana master yapmaya yöneltti beni. Şu anda işte bankacılık ve finans yüksek lisansı yapıyorum. Ya benim hayatımda bir sürü şey değiştirdi. Ben çok seviyorum. Yani o özgürlükçü tavrını, duruşunu da çok seviyorum. Öyle yani çok da benim müzisyen olarak marka değerimi ne yapar diye de çok gerçekten sorgulamadım açıkçası. Dengelemeye çalışıyorum.
Bitcoin ilk olarak hangi senede duymuştunuz ve gerçekten buralara geleceğini ilk anlarda düşünmüş müydünüz? Mesela white paper'ını okumuş muydunuz?
Çok önce duymuştum, çok erken duymuştum. Benim ekibimde yazılımcı arkadaşlarım vardı. 2 tane gitarcı arkadaşım vardı. Dolayısıyla daha zannediyorum fiyatı falan oluşmamıştı o zamanlar. Çünkü bayağı bildiğiniz
erkenmiş.
yazılımcı tabii yani o zaman hiç anlamamıştım. Çok da ilgilenmemiştim. Belki bu Bitcoin pizza günleri zamanı falan olabilir. Gerçekten abartmıyorum yani çok eskiden duymuştum. Birkaç kere daha duydum. Ben aslında soğuk cüzdanı benim basın danışmanım Can Bozoklar'dan duydum. Soğuk cüzdan kavramını duyduğumda aslında sizin de chat başlamadan bahsettiğiniz gibi işte kendi cüzdanınızsa eğer o sizin kendi coin'inizdir düşünüp soğuk cüzdandan sonra heveslenip iyice araştırmaya başladım. Böyle çok aktif olarak herhalde 3 sene, 3,5 sene falan oldu. Bayağı böyle hani çok içine girdim ama ondan önce çok uzun süre sadece öyle arada sırada duyduğum bir şeydi.
Şimdi tabii ki sanatçıların, belki bu konuyu siz zaten çok daha iyi bileceksinizdir. Sanatçıların son dönemdeki internetin de gelişimiyle birlikte bir telif hakkı problemi de ortaya çıkmaya başladı. Ciddi şekilde yani eskiden albüm satılırdı, sanatçı para kazanırdı. Artık detaylarını bilmiyorum ama hani çok albüm satan çok para kazanırdı. Şimdi bir şarkı yapıyorsunuz, onun mesela telif hakkından hiçbir şey gerçek sahibi olmanıza rağmen alamayabiliyorsunuz diye düşünüyorum. Böyle bir şey hani siz blockchain, blok zinciri teknolojisinin buna bir katkı verebileceğini düşünüyor musunuz? Yeni böyle bir müzikle doğru orantılı, müzik odaklı daha doğrusu birçok blok zinciri projesi, şirketi ortaya çıktı. Onlar sanatçılara destek olan var. Ya da hakkını gerçekten tırnak içinde yedirtmeyen ve hakkını veren var eskisi gibi. Bu konudaki fikriniz nedir? Yani öneriniz var mı sektöre?
Müzik sektörünün event tarafını bir kenara bırakırsak, konser tarafını, event tarafını bir kenara bırakırsak, yayınlanan şarkılar üzerinden 2 tane temel geliri var. Bir tanesi streaming gelirleri. Streaming geliri şu, ben bir şarkı çıkarıyorum, platformlara veriyorum şarkıyı. O platforma girip herhangi bir müzik dinleyicisi o şarkıyı dinliyor. O kaydı dinlemesinden doğan ve aradaki plak şirketinin kazandığı bir gelir var. Onun adı streaming geliri. Yani stream edilmesinden gelen gelir. Bir de şarkıyı eğer ben yazdıysam sözün ve müziğin bana ait olmasından doğan ve meslek birlikleri tarafından denetlenen telif hakları geliri var. Burada blok zincir teknolojisi bir kayıt teknolojisi olduğu için ve çok net, çok şeffaf bir teknoloji olduğu için hem telif hakları gelirlerinde hem de streaming gelirlerinde inanılmaz büyük bir potansiyel taşıyor. Bence NFT konsepti henüz oturmadı. Ben yani ilk NFT konuşulmaya başladığında falan çok sevmiştim. Hala oturmadı. Yani NFT deyince bizim aklımıza sadece görsel sanatlar geliyor ki çok güzel orayı da rahatlatması ama bir parantez daha sektöre dair, müzik sektörüne dair. Ben bir şarkı yazdım ve diyelim ki plak şirketi de benim. Plak şirketi ben değilsem 3 aracıdan geçip dinleyiciye ulaşıyor. Ortalama bir rakam bu. Plak şirketim de yoksa 4 veya 5 aracıdan geçip dinleyiciye ulaşıyor. Dolayısıyla dinleyici daha çok ödeme yapıyor. Yani müziğe ulaşmak için streaming platformlarına daha çok ödeme yapıyor. Blok zincir teknolojisi katma değer yaratmayan, herhangi bir değer yaratmayan, hiçbir şey yaratmayan aracıları ki var o aracılar. Yani zaten bir şarkı benden dinleyiciye gidene kadar niye 3-4 yerden geçsin? Yani şarkıyı işte internette paylaşacağım. Dinlemek isteyen dinleyecek. O aracıları ortadan kaldırma potansiyeli taşıdığı için hem tüketici çok daha düşük ücretler ödeyerek dinleyebilecek müziği hem de müzik yapımcısı da işte müziği üretenler de hem telif hakları üzerinden hem de streaming üzerinden daha rahat faaliyet gösterebilecekler. Bu potansiyeli çok ciddi. Yani NFT müzik dünyasını değiştirecek. Hiçbir şey olmasa bu saatten sonra ben artık bunun olabileceğini düşünüyorum yani. Ne zaman olur bilmiyorum.
Evet. Şimdi tabii bu dönemde çok ciddi bir düşüş zaman dilimi içerisindeyiz. Kripto paralar yani kimsenin tahmin etmediği kadar düştü. Hatta oradan başlayalım. Yani böyle bir düşüş bekliyor muydunuz? Birçok kripto odaklı şirket battı. Bazıları batmasa da batmıştan
Battı,
beter
aynen,
oldu. Mahkemelere verildiler. Başka şirketler hemen onları satın almak istiyor. Yani bir karmaşa var ama burada yine insanlar mağdur oldu. İnsanların paraları platformlarda kaldı. Çekemiyorlar. Hatta çekebileceksiniz ileride ama şu kadarını vereceğiz size gibi. Ödeme yöntemlerini bile o şirketler, batan şirketler belirliyor. Çoğu gitti paraların. Bu konudaki fikriniz nedir? Yani biraz önce soğuk cüzdanın önemine değindik ama bunları gördükçe açıkçası ben sektörün içinde olmama rağmen şaşırdım. Yani bu kadarını beklemiyordum.
Ben de
Bu
beklemiyordum,
iflas
ben de
etmeleri. Ne düşündünüz? Yani 1-2 aydır yaşadığımız olaylar.
Ben Celsius'un falan, ya bilmiyorum isim vermek yanlış da olabilir burada ama bazı işte kripto bankacılığı hizmeti veren kuruluşların diyeyim, çoğunluğunun diyeyim hatta bu kadar kötü risk yönetimi, yani böyle bir şey olamaz. Çok gerçekten şaşırdım. Ya bazılarını bekliyorsunuz, evet görüyorsunuz filan nasıl yönetildiğini filan ama bu kadar böyle zincirleme, yani orada birkaç tane tetikleyici oldu ama tetikleyici her zaman oluyor.
Tabii.
Bayağı çok kötü risk yönetimi yani onun neticesi.
Doğru.
Maalesef itibarına zarar verdi. Yani geçecektir, unutulacaktır ama olan oldu. İnsanlar çok yıprandılar. Para kaybettiler, zaman kaybettiler.
Evet.
O tarafı var. Şeyi öngörememiştim. Döngüyü tamamlayabileceğini düşünüyordum. Ödül yarılanmasından gelen döngüyü. En azından böyle bu kadar para basılan işte sınırsız QE, yarın yokmuşçasına, enflasyon diye bir şey yokmuşçasına bir QE ortamında döngüyü tamamlamaya yaklaşabileceğini düşünüyordum. Dolayısıyla şeyi öngöremedim. Yani şeye rağmen öngöremedim bu arada. Faiz arttırımına gideceğiz demesine rağmen Fed'in biraz daha devam edebileceğini düşünüyordum. Orada şöyle bir şey olduğunu düşünüyorum. Artık bence Bitcoin şeyden ayrıldı. Dolayısıyla kripto dünyası standart Bitcoin ödül yarılanması döngüsündeki o kendi hareket biçimini, kendi yordamını biraz daha Nasdaq'la falan korelasyonun arttığını düşünüyorum yani. Dolayısıyla şöyle de bir şeye çıkıyor bu. Ödül yarılanması 2024'teydi galiba. Mayıs'taydı. Yani bu enflasyon engelleme yöntemleri, düşürme yöntemleri çalışırsa çok kötü bir resesyon verisi gelip de hem enflasyonu yeteri kadar düşürmemişken bir de resesyona yakalanılmazsa yani uzun süre böyle bir stagflasyonla falan uğraşılmazsa teknoloji hisseleri topladığı zaman belki çok orta vadede bir all time high beklemek gerçekçi olmayabilir ama toparlayacağını düşünüyorum. Biraz artık volatilitesi daha yüksek, standart sapması daha yüksek, teknoloji hissesi gibi davranıyor Bitcoin. Ona ek olarak ama bir de ödül yarılanması var. Yani hiçbir hisse senedinin ödül yarılanması yok. Bekliyoruz, göreceğiz. Yani makroekonomik koşulları takip etmek lazım bence artık.
Tabii şunu da sormak lazım. Bitcoin'de özellikle hani fiyatın artmasını bekleyen de çok ciddi. Hani bekliyoruz dediniz ya öyle herkes şu an böyle bekliyor gibi bir durum söz konusu. Fiyat konusunda da çok yorum yapılıyor. Şimdi ben size tabii hani kaça çıkmasını bekliyorsunuz gibi çok basit bir soru sormak istemiyorum ama hani milyon dolarlar konuşuluyor ileriki dönemde. Şimdi bir ekonomist olarak siz baktığınızda yani ekonomiyi gerçekten standart bir kişiden daha iyi biliyorsunuz. Çok daha iyi biliyorsunuz. Mesela 2 milyon dolar, 5 milyon dolar diyenler var ileriki dönemde zamanını belirtmeden. Herhalde o zamanki 5 milyon doların alım gücüyle şimdiki de aynı olmayacak değil mi? Yani dolar açısından veya diğer para birimleri açısından bakmak da doğru değil mi artık acaba Bitcoin'de?
Uzun vadeli doğru değil. Yani paranın zaman değeri kavramı çok arkadaşımız aşinadır. 5 sene sonraki 1 doların neyi satın alabileceğini bilmediğimiz için bu sadece enflasyonla da ilgili bir şey değil. Yani fırsat maliyetiyle ilgili bir şey. Para neyi satın alabilecek bilmiyoruz. Yani nominal değer ne olduğunun bir önemi yok. O sadece banknotun üzerinde yazan rakam. Ama ben kısa vadede yani 1 milyon olmasını falan beklemiyorum tabii ki.
Tabii ben hani uzun vade için tamamen
uzun vadede de 1 milyonun ne demek olduğunu bilmediğim için kestirmek zor olduğu için bilmiyorum ama yani kıt olması, insan hatasına kapalı olması, açık kodlu olması, arkasında da bir fikir birliği olması yani önemli olan zaten değer atfedilmiş olması artık Bitcoin'e ve regülasyonlara şunlara bunlara takılmayacak kadar da hızlı hareket etmesi çok ciddi bir yere gelebileceğine dair yani kesin konuşmak da yanlış olur. Ciddi işaretler veriyor.
Son olarak şunu da soracağım. Bu tartışma özellikle Amerika'da çok fazla yapıldı son bir senedir. Yine 2021 boğa sezonundan sonra Bitcoin madenciliği. Çevreye zarar veriyor. İşte fosil yakıt harcanıyor ve daha kötü bir doğa önümüze çıkarıyor diye iddialar var. Buna katılıyor musunuz? Hatta diğer kripto paralarda da başka bir madencilik değil ama proof of stake denilen başka bir sistem kullanıyor. O bakın hiç enerji harcamıyor. Tamamen enerji verimliliği üzerinden çalışıyor. Onlar iyi. Bitcoin kötü gibi bir nasıl diyeyim bir yansıma ortaya çıktı. Buna katılıyor musunuz? Hani doğa anlamında da ya şimdi devletler hani Bitcoin madenci dışında öyle şeyler yapıyorlar ki hani buna gelene kadar neler oldu diye düşünmeden edemiyorsunuz ama bu konudaki fikriniz nedir acaba?
Yani Bitcoin'in enerji harcadığını biliyoruz.
Evet.
Bir miktar zarar veriyor da olabilir. Yalnız bunun bir standarda oturulması gerektiğini ben tüketici olarak düşünüyorum. Yani petrodolar sistemi bu kadar zarar veriyorken dönüp yani bütün ekonominin çok küçük bir bölümü olan Bitcoin'e, henüz hala çok küçük bir bölümü olan Bitcoin'e ya bakın bu da çevreye çok zarar veriyor demek bana çok iyi niyetli gelmiyor. Yani orada bir enstrüman aranmış da karalamak için o bulunmuş gibi geliyor ama şunda da bir problem yok. Yani ne kadar zarar verdiğini bilmiyorum. Teknik olarak ben hani madencilik yapmadım. Detaylarını da çok bilmiyorum.
Şöyle bir örnek vereyim. Rakamı hatırlamıyorum ama Amerika'da her sene boşa çıkan, Amerika'nın harcadığı enerjinin boşa çıkan çok önemli bir kısımda bir enerji var. Onun %1'i kadar bir enerji harcıyor toplam Bitcoin dünyada madenciliği. Yani Amerika'nın boşa harcadığı enerji boşa gidiyor. Hiçbir şekilde kullanılmıyor. 100 kat daha fazla.
Zaten petrodolar sisteminin de ne yaptığını biliyoruz. Yani dolayısıyla bu kıyaslama biraz abuk geliyor. Oradan proof of stake'e mevzuyu götürmeleri de yani proof of stake çok da dikkatli konuşmaya çalışıyorum. Aslında itibari para sisteminin de çok benzer yanlarını taşıyan bir sistem. Karşı değilim ben proof of stake'in yapısına ama yani başka bir şey proof of work ile kıyasladığınızda tabii yani merkeziyetçi sistem proof of stake'i tercih edecektir ama bu çevre aşkından değildir bence. Proof of stake biraz daha yapısı dolayısıyla merkezi olmak zorunda olduğu için merkezi olan bir şeyin de merkezi kontrol edilebildiği için değil mi? Daha rahat kontrol edilebilir. Bitcoin'i bugün dava edemezsiniz ama bir proof of stake konsepti taşıyan altcoin projesinin sahibini gider edersiniz işte. Her zaman tehdit ediyor. Dolayısıyla yani çok şey bulmuyorum ben. Çok objektif bulmuyorum o yaklaşımlarını.
Bir de tabii şu da var. Bir Bitcoin madencilik konseyi de kuruldu bu tartışmaların ardından ve şu anda %50'nin üstünde bir Bitcoin madenciliğinde temiz enerjiyle yapılıyor. Yani rüzgar enerjisi, güneş enerjisi bunlarla yapılıyor. Yani artık onda da bir laf söyletmeyecekler yakında ama ondan sonra ne çıkacak bilmiyorum açıkçası.
Evet bulurlar ama bir şey.
Bir şey bulacaklar gibi duruyor ama en başına dönüp öyle bitirelim. Yani bu sizin dediğiniz ben bütün bu tartışmaları bu merkez bankaları, ülkeler, hükümetler tarafı ve Bitcoin tarafı arasındaki o mücadele olarak görüyorum. Ve bu bir yerde bir sıkışacak ve bir kazanan olacak herhalde.
Bence de Bitcoin'in şansı olduğu şey senkronize hareket edemiyor devletler. Burada böyle devlet karşıtı bir şeymiş gibi de tınlamasın ama yani bu regülasyonu düzenleyen ve uygulayan kurumlar diyeyim, devletler demeyeyim. Senkronize hareket edemiyorlar ve teknoloji çok hızlı ve artık bir fikir birliği var. Bence zaten yani geç kaldılar.
Gandhi'nin bir sözü var öyle bitirelim. Hani önce dalga geçerler, sizi küçümserler, sonra sizle savaşırlar, sonra galiba siz kazanırsınız gibi. Böyle olacağını düşünüyor musunuz?
Ben öyle olacağını düşünüyorum. Ne zaman olacağını, yani umarım biz görürüz ve kutlamaya gideriz.
İnşallah tabii. Çok teşekkür ediyorum.
Teşekkür ederim.
Sağ olun.
Ben
Dinlediğiniz için teşekkürler.
Abi çok teşekkür ederim.
Çok teşekkürler. Sağ olun.
Çok teşekkürler. Çok teşekkürler. So that was a great chat anyway. Emre Aydın was our guest of honor and also Turkish pop star. So the speech was moderated by Hakan Ateşler, the blockchain evangelist. Now, I know you're all looking forward to our last session. It's gonna be with Michael Saylor. There will be a fireside chat about freedom, money and hope. But before that, let me welcome here Tom Busby, co-founder of Crypto Busy, on stage. So we'll start having our little chat, and later on Josh Mona will be joining us. So we'll also do a little Q&A session. So if you have any questions, basic or more detailed questions, you can directly ask it. So welcome, Tom Busby here. Let's sit here. You can sit here, Tom. Here. Okay. So it's the first time that I'm sitting today, on stage. Yeah. Mikrofonu alabilir miyiz bir konumunda? All
okay,
right, now
yeah,
it's working.
definitely. I can hear myself now.
How do you feel hearing your own voice?
But Josh will be on the stage very soon. No, it feels good. First time in Turkey, first time in Istanbul, loving it. Great weather as well.
Yeah,
Much
you're
better.
welcome here. You're welcome here. Very
Yeah.
welcome here in
Thank you.
Turkey. How did you like it?
Yeah, no, it's the weather is much better here compared to the UK, so very much enjoying that. But yeah, there you go.
All right, that's great. Josh will be joining us soon.
Yeah.
You're both very young.
Yeah.
And you're both the co-founders of Crypto Busy.
Yeah, that's right.
So how come? How did you do it? How did you
So-
first have the idea, and how did you become so successful?
Yeah, so we started in the forex world, so trading the pound against the dollar, the euro against the dollar, and other pairs as well. But before that, I gained interest in investing. On your iPhone app, you have the stocks app. I was that 12-year-old kid looking at the stocks app, seeing what Apple was doing. If there was an announcement and Apple's stock went up, what was the reason behind that? And so that sort of sparked my interest at an early age of investing. And so that got myself into forex world, and Josh also got into that as well. So we both started that at the same time. We both started our forex trading, investing journey at the same time. And at the same time also, we wanted to create a YouTube channel. We wanted to create some content, have that creative background that we've had.
So you also have a YouTube channel, so let's...
Yeah, so the
also
YouTube channel
announce it.
itself with Crypto Busy, that started in 2018. So that was officially launched in 2018. But with Bitcoin, my discovery and our discovery into Bitcoin and crypto itself was September of 2017. Okay. And I saw a news article saying that Bitcoin has surpassed $5,000, $2,000, something like that. And I thought, there's something going on here. Let me research into this. Let me tap into what's happening. And then in about sort of November, December time of 2017, I pitched in my first amount of money into Bitcoin. It was about, I think, about £100 at the time, so 100.
£100?
Yeah.
So it just started all with £100?
Yes, and it was just something as very, as that size as that. My first initial buy order was about $5, something like that. So, very as low as $5 of buying some Bitcoin. I bought some Ethereum, some Litecoin, some XRP. And then that was just before you saw that massive rush up in price.
And you made a diversified
I put into 4
right?
coins at the time, but I didn't realize that there were like 12,000 coins out there on the market. Not all of them will survive, but in terms of there's so many out there. And then we saw that my money was doubling every day. And I thought, what's going on here? So eventually we learned more about it, and March of 2018 we created the channel Crypto Busy, and that was commenting on the news, and also from our experience from the forex trading, we put that together. And so for myself, I focus on the fundamental analysis, so what's happening in the world. So you have the interest rates happening today, and Josh himself, he focuses on the technical analysis, so looking into the charts, looking into the RSI, looking into different indicators, and everything. And I think that is
when he joins, I will be asking him questions about trading.
Yeah, I see
So don't worry,
Josh somewhere. I see
he'll
him
be
somewhere.
coming soon. He'll be joining us soon.
Should I just join them now?
Okay,
So it's not also important to start a business, but also it's very important when there are so many competitors, especially when there are no entries or barriers.
Yes.
Everybody can do it. So there are no barriers for the entrance. How did you survive?
In terms of the market, in terms of everything
Yeah,
else?
in terms of your business, Crypto Busy,
Yeah, so I mean, barriers were, what content to create. It was 2018 that we created the channel, and then we gained about 5,000 subscribers in the first 6 months. And at the same time, Josh and I were in university, so I was studying mechanical engineering. Josh was studying English literature at the time, I believe. He then switched over to an entrepreneurship degree. And that kind of got in the way of what we were doing. So that was, I guess, in terms of like a barrier. We wanted also to get our degrees. So we took a hiatus and posted a few videos in 2019. 2020 is when things started to pick off, started to take off and pick up. So since March or April of 2020 until now, we've pretty much been posting a video every single day.
Wow, that's cool.
That's full dedication to the channel. And then also at the same time, to the brand of CryptoBusy, to the community that we created along the way. You know, our main goal was to create content that we wish we had access to when we started out in crypto. So that's the main goal, and I think what we've done with that is reflected in our community that we have created along the way. So, and also with the university, you know, we recently just graduated about 2 weeks ago. So at the same time, still doing CryptoBusy and everything going on with that, as well as our university and our degrees. So we finally got our degrees done. We're now just fully focused on what our business is and also in the future as well. So we've got lots of great avenues to explore and look down. So, but in terms of the market, you know, we're in a bit of a slump at the moment, but in terms of the adoption, you know, for the future, it's looking great as well.
Yeah, speaking of the market, today Fed will announce, the Federal Reserve of the United States is going to announce the interest rates. So it's going to impact everything, actually. It's going to change everything. So what do you think is going to happen to Bitcoin when interest rates are rising? It's an alternative investment, so...
You know, you saw interest rates being raised in the 1970s, and the stock market itself, it actually performed relatively okay. Not as much as compared to the 80s. The 80s was a great time for the stock markets, and towards the end, maybe not. It always goes in ebbs and flows. There's always, different markets and different cycles in the market as well. So, you know, you'll have these announcements today, you'll have announcements in the future as well, and that's going to happen. That's fine. We have to accept that. But we have to have a longer term perspective when it comes to Bitcoin's price. So sure, Bitcoin's price will be volatile today, potentially. You know, there'll be an announcement and then there'll be a bit of a knee-jerk reaction with Bitcoin's price. It may go up a little bit, may go down a little bit. But the main thing really to hold into when looking into Bitcoin, looking into crypto, is to maintain this long-term perspective. It is about 13, coming up to 14 years old. Bitcoin is about, just about 13 or 14 years old. So it's young. It's immature. It's so young compared to other asset classes out there, such as precious metals. Precious metals such as gold, silver, titanium, they've been around for thousands of years. It's been traded for thousands of years. The stock market has been around for hundreds of years. Whereas,
and it's very well known to everyone. You know, as the newcomers are entering into also crypto, the market will be deeper. So those instabilities will also disappear by time, or the volatilities will decline by time.
Yeah, I think those incentives with the stock market will always be there, and the same with Bitcoin as well. I mean, it's not going anywhere. Bitcoin's been declared dead so many times now at this point. Crypto's been declared a scam by banks back in the day. They now changed their tone on crypto. And I think there's also, there's some right to say that there is some shady stuff that can go in the industry, but also at the same time, that is starting to go away. We're seeing the sunset on this wild west of finance, which is crypto, seeing some form of regulation come in. My hope is that we don't see over-regulation to kill the innovation. I hope that we see good regulation that is innovative for us all. So that's where I think things are going.
All right, so we're waiting for Josh Martin, but until he arrives, maybe we can also... Is he here?
He's right over there.
All right, so Josh, we're waiting for you. Come on, let's join us. Everybody's looking for, your trading ideas, So Josh Martin is here. He's also the co-founder of... The microphone, please. All right. The co-founder of CryptoBusy. So we talked about the interest rates. Today, Fed is going to announce the interest rates. So how it will impact, in general, in the long run and in the short run, the crypto, all the cryptos, and we also talked about how you founded your company. Now it's time for me to ask it to you, because I know that you're specialized in that, right? The charts, the trading. So what are the trading techniques? Now, right at the moment, it's around $20,000. So it had a big decline since $69,000. So for some of the people, this is an opportunity to buy And some of the people, it's a loss actually. So what do you think it represents right at the moment? We still don't have the microphone. Can we please mikrofonları açabilir miyiz rica etsem? Evet.
Still,
All
there we go. Yeah, so with Bitcoin's price right now, I think we're definitely seeing, as I think Tom said, we're probably going to see some sort of knee-jerk reaction with the Fed rate hike soon. But right now, in terms of a technical standpoint, which is what I'm focusing more on, is we haven't quite run those lows that we need to run in order to see that big move up. There's nothing that's showing me in the charts that we're on our way back to all-time highs yet. So I still think, we may see a small move up to 25, maybe even 29, 30,000, but I do think we're probably going to revisit 20, maybe even 17,000 once again. I've seen a few people talking about maybe the 16,500 number. There's a few key levels at that point as well. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody knows where the exact bottom is going to be, and I think it's foolish to try and just pick it. So I'm more of a trend trader, right? So I'm going to wait for the price to show me it wants to move in a certain direction first, and then I'll trade with it. So I want to see Bitcoin from a technical standpoint break the key level. I think it's around $32,500. And once we can do that from a technical standpoint on the daily chart or so, we have actually entered a trend reversal. So if I see that, then I'm more inclined to go long with trades. However, in the meantime, I'm still very much expecting lower price movement, but we just have to wait.
Yeah, maybe we can do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Soruları alabiliriz. We can get questions. If you have, yes please. Mikrofon alabilir miyiz soru için? Lütfen. I will try to hear you. Yeah. Mikrofon alalım, evet.
We open up the floor to questions. Yeah, sure. How you guys doing today? You good? Brilliant.
Hi, welcome from UK. Here the temperatures are 40 plus, which is similar to Dubai, where I come from.
Hi.
So in terms of trading strategies, how do you look at altcoins? Now, obviously there are thousands of altcoins, but are there some fundamental levers or spaces that you look at? Because one of the questions that I asked earlier was on interoperability and cross-chain, because there are hundreds of blockchains, layer 1, layer 2 these days, but there is no common infrastructure which is talking between these blockchains. It's kind of like there are cities, but there are no bridges. So what is the role of interoperability layer 0, and what are some of your projects? I mean, if we look at router protocol, it has done about 300, 400%, and that's had the community going gaga, and it's an old project. But the true value realization is happening now because the ecosystem is now started to grow. They have this SDK, they have APIs which can give projects and dApps, cross-chain abilities, which obviously helps them grow the ecosystem. So how do you look at such projects?
Yeah, sure. I think it's a great question. Thank you very much for that. I think the main thing to look into for altcoins, when you go on CoinMarketCap and you see how many coins are on the market, I mean, it's like something like 20,000 altcoins on the market. Now, not all of them will survive, unfortunately. It's quite similar, if not very similar, to the dot-com boom of 2001, where 95% of the companies failed. Only 5% survived. So the other way to look into it is what makes those 5% survive. It's the same thing with the altcoins that we look into. So have a look at the team. In terms of the CEO, the founder, the technical director, all of these important integral parts of the teams, what's their background like in terms of their previous experience? What's their vision? The altcoins or the project's vision, where they're trying to get to. Another thing to look into is also, are they solving a real-world issue? So a big thing that Bitcoin is solving is international payment settlements at the end of the day, and it's a means of transfer of money from one place to another. It's a very simple way of solving a big issue. Something like 2/3 of the world is unbanked, and that is crazy, especially as we're going through the fourth industrial revolution right now. We want to solve those issues and lift a lot of people out of poverty And if we are able to harness the technology of crypto and of blockchain technology itself, you can see a lot of good stuff happen from that and hopefully solve a lot of those issues. So those things specifically. And then also, have a look at the community behind that project as well. Have a look at their roadmap, and then also in terms of different partnerships. You have some altcoins out there that are partnering with the likes of Oracle, PwC, Ernst & Young. These, big companies, big players in the world at the moment that are, again, solving a lot of issues. So if there's a project out there that is partnering with like HSBC or whoever, then that is a good indicator usually. So it's those sort of indicators and those sort of parts of the coin itself. And again, I go back to it, again, not all of them will survive. So those are the things that we look for when it comes to that. And that's what we do at CryptoBusy. We specialize in that. We look at the fundamentals of the project, we look at the technicals as well, and see where things go. So that's, hope that answers your question.
Josh, do you want to add anything to that, beyond that?
Yeah, I was going to say from a technical standpoint as well, there's a lot of times where you'll get a coin that fundamentally is a fantastic coin and, everything points to it going up. But sometimes it's just not the right time for that coin. And that's where technicals come into play. You can analyze the fundamentals and you can find coins that are great. And, if you're keeping a long-term perspective about it, as, we do,
yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you're dollar cost averaging or if you're just buying whenever there's a dip. Then it doesn't really matter if you're getting into the the nitty gritty with it. But at the same time, you can get a coin where if you know it's good fundamentally, then you can start delving into the technicals and you can start seeing, well, on a daily chart, are we seeing bullish momentum? Because you can get great coins that have just heading downwards with the rest of the market. But you might get, I believe as you said, some coins can pump 300, 400% out of nowhere. And that a lot of the time will either be a news reaction or it will be just, it's the technical time for that coin. There was a clearly bullish swing and then that led to the coin going up. So I think it's just mixing both together.
Yeah.
And not only just looking at the fundamentals, but also finding the right time to buy. Because at the end of the day, most people are looking for the best time to make profit, and that is where timing the market can be very, very helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, any more questions? Do you want to ask any questions? Yes, please. Can I have a microphone again? Yes. All right.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey.
Hi.
This is kind of crypto-based as well. So as content creators yourself and as the founders of CryptoBusy, you, of course, create content in the crypto industry. So my question to you is, who kind of, not really inspires you, but who, because at the moment in the crypto space, there's a lot of content creators and it's hard, as you know, some people get turned over for promoting a scam, or some people, they kind of inspiring the younger people, but not in the correct way. And I watch your channel and it's very inspiring and good. So who do you look up to and who do you watch that you kind of get that information and knowledge from, that you think, yeah, they're solid content creators, they're the kind of people that we watch and we want to uplift that to other people?
That's a great question, thank you.
No worries.
So yeah, I think it's a great thing to address, is that, especially as we are progressing through this year, there's going to be a lot more regulation coming out. So I think that will solve a lot of the issues in the space that you have seen in the past. In terms of creators that we look to, I mean, for myself personally, I look at financial channels on YouTube. So I forgot the name of the guy actually. Stephen Graham, I think his name is. Look at that guy. He's, he puts out content all the time. Like, he's just a machine when it comes to the content he creates. Other people in the space, well, in the investing world, people like Kevin O'Leary. In the UK, we watch people like Peter Jones, who's part of the Dragon's Den. People like that that we look for.
Yeah, I think in terms of content creators ourselves, when you do it for a job, it's very, you don't then go and watch, I think, other creators always, because you kind of get burnt out doing it all day. You don't want to then go home and relax and then watch another creator. But at the same time, when we first started, it was in 2018, so there's only really 2 or 3 people out there doing it. I believe I remember Data Dash, people like that. That's kind of how we got started, but we just wanted to almost create a platform which we wish we had access to at the beginning. So we wanted to be the people that people could come to and learn about cryptocurrency, because we didn't necessarily have those to start with. So that's what we've tried to do. And yeah, I think you do have to be very careful, because there are a lot of YouTube people that will just take money for a project and then shill it to you. But at Crypto Busy, we do try to be very, very picky with what we do, and you know, we really dialed down and focused in on only a couple of projects that we really like and share, just because we want to give content. Ooh. But yeah, that's all good.
Nice little piano tune there. Brilliant.
Okay. So, any more questions? Do you want to ask questions to our guests here? I see a hand up there. Oh, no. Okay.
Yes, hi. So in 2018, if you remember, 95% of the crypto projects died out. And so I wanted to know your opinion. Which projects do you think will survive until the next bull market, and why?
That's a very good question. Thank you. So I think in terms of specific projects, I mean, definitely the ones at the moment, bar a few, in the top 50, top 100 are ones to look for. That, again, with what I've talked about earlier with the great team, a great white paper, roadmap, that's important to look at. Projects at the top of my head, that I think you should look in, that were in the top 100, were projects such as Terra Luna, the UST situation. That was a project that was in the top 100, I think in the top 20 at this point, and then failed. I mean, ultimately at the moment, we have to look into other projects as well, but the ones we focus on mainly are the ones that we know already, the ones that have the good team, the white papers. So, we look at projects such as VeChain, which is a great project, Zilliqa as well, and many others. But it's important to follow those guidelines, and once you do, you can weed out the ones that could fail, have the potential to do so quite easily. So hopefully that does answer your question.
Yeah, I think as Tom was saying, you've got to focus on the projects that do have those good fundamentals, because there are so many coins out there that might pump here and there, but you want to be involved in the ones that are actually going to either solve a real world problem or create value. As a business, I mean, if you look at it almost like a stock or something, stocks obviously have, they got earnings reports, they've got all these fundamentals behind them. So why would you treat, certain projects? Why would you give the benefit of the doubt to a cryptocurrency if they can't put up the numbers, if they can't put up what they're actually doing in the world? Then why should you give them your money at the end of the day? So, yeah, I think that's kind of where I stand.
And just to jump on there, actually, I think sort of a specific example with the we have stayed away from meme coins, such as like Dogecoin or Shiba Inu, things like that, because as much as it has a great community behind it, at the same time, is it solving that real world issue? Not so much. So it's things like that, and they can just go absolutely crazy. It's absolutely volatile. So yeah, there you go.
Okay, thank you very much, Tom and Josh. And as we see, Michael is ready, I think. Michael Saylor will be with us right now from MicroStrategy. And my guests now, the moderators, Tom Busby and Josh Modern, and Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy will be talking about freedom, money, and hope. So I'll be leaving the stage all to you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Just need to make sure that we can all hear each other. Okay. And we'll get straight into it. Hi, Michael, can you hear us?
Don't think we have any sound or
audio,
Michael.
Yeah. The anticipation is there.
Yeah, I think I tested my equipment. It's fine. So I think there's something else going on your end.
There we go. I think we
Michael, I think we can hear you now.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Great. Thank you.
Well, Michael, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to have this discussion.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Yeah, thank you. They're doing well, doing good. So in terms of how the discussion will go, we're going to have about 40 minutes or so talking about a number of things with regards to Bitcoin in terms of the adoption, interest rates, and many other things that's happening at the moment. We have certain things to talk about, such as the cycle, and we'll talk about other things such as digital gold as well, Bitcoin being that. And then for about the remaining 20 minutes or so, we'll open up the the floor to some questions. So I guess the first question is, it's a two-parter. In terms of Bitcoin's adoption at the moment, where do you see it at the moment? And the second part of that question is, what are the potential hurdles for Bitcoin's adoption in the next about 5 to 10 years?
Sure. I think that the years 2010 to 2020 were the entrepreneurial years. It was the first decade offshore, Wild West, entrepreneurial, a lot of wildcatting, anything goes, a lot of creativity. I think that institutions first became interested in Bitcoin around 2020. I think the pandemic kind of catalyzed a massive amount of interest. And that was about the first time that we had enough infrastructure that large institutional customers could start to acquire the asset. I think from 2020 to 2024, we'll see a rapid evolution and adoption of infrastructure in the crypto economy so that institutions can acquire digital assets, first Bitcoin and then eventually digital currencies like stable coins and the like. I think that once we've moved that through that stage, we'll probably have about 80% to 80 to 85% of the regulatory clarity we need by the end of 2024. Then I think the following decade, from 2024 to 2034, is your growth stage where you start to settle into broad-based global growth and broad-based, more stable institutional adoption where more conservative institutions will start to get involved in the asset. And I think that if you're looking at the milestones, really key milestones were the establishment of institutional grade custodians that we saw come online in 2019, 2020. I think the election of the Biden administration was an important milestone. We now have an executive order from the White House that's kind of a strong endorsement. We have a chair of the SEC that's very familiar with crypto assets and Bitcoin. This designated Bitcoin as a crypto commodity. That's a very big endorsement. I think we have the Secretary of the Treasury of the United States, Janet Yellen, that has given a speech earlier this year in April at American University where she recited the legend of Satoshi Nakamoto and noted the innovation of being able to send value between two parties without a trusted intermediary. That was a big milestone. I think there was a big debate in 2020 and 2019 as to whether this was a currency or an asset or a property or what was it. And if Bitcoin had been deemed a currency, it would be viewed as competitive to governments and the dollar and the euro and other fiat currencies. And that becomes a political problem and a tax problem. I think that it has emerged as an asset and a property and not a currency. And so the designation of Bitcoin as an asset, a speculative asset by Jerome Powell and by Christine Lagarde, the heads of the Federal Reserve and the EU Central Bank, I think, and even the designation of it as an asset by the Chinese Central Bank, I think those are really big positives. Sometimes people focus upon the volatility of Bitcoin as a negative. I think the volatility has been a big positive, because if it were deemed as a stable currency, it would be threatening to all the governments in the world and the banking system. So what you've seen in the past 12 to 24 months is the evolution of understanding across all the governments of the world that crypto assets are here to stay. There's a benefit to being able to move currencies like the US dollar around on mobile phones at the speed of light. There's a benefit to 24/7, 365 trading. There's a benefit to crypto property like Bitcoin as a store of value. They've designated it as a speculative asset class. They have acknowledge that they need to bring it into the regulatory framework of securities law, banking law, tax law, and the like. All of those are very bullish factors, and none of those understandings were consensus in 2019 or 2020 even. I think they become consensus as we move into the middle of 2022. Now you've got about 2 years of work by regulators and by legislators and by governments in order to establish the legal definitions and the regulatory definitions of a security versus a commodity versus a currency versus a digital exchange. And that was going slow in January of this year. But the crypto crash that took place, and the meltdown of Luna, and the meltdown of Celsius, and the meltdown of Three Arrows actually catalyzed a consensus, I think, across the entire political sphere that all the governments in the world, especially the governments in the Western world and Europe and the United States, need to embrace this set of technologies and figure out how they're going to regulate it and how they're going to refer to it. And so now you've got pressure on the SEC and the CFTC in the United States to do something, and even the OCC, to do something fast. And that fast means something will happen highly likely in the next 2 years. Slow means people would talk about it and they would do 10 or 20% of what they needed to do in the next 2 years. So I think 80% of what we need to see in the marketplace takes place in the next 24 months. And that's what's going to be required for Microsoft and Amazon and Google and all the big hedge funds and all the big conservative investors and all the big government agencies to get more engaged in this marketplace. And so I'm optimistic. I see these as auspicious developments.
Awesome. Yeah, and I completely agree. I think we're definitely going to see some big moves. I know, as Tom was saying earlier about the potential rate hikes coming in, I think inflation is going to be something where Bitcoin potentially has its chance to kind of take center stage. And something we always hear on our channel is we have a lot of people subscribing to this idea of the Bitcoin cycle, this 4-year cycle that has repeated itself. And I just wondered, are you a subscriber in this theory, or do you think now we are at unprecedented levels with Bitcoin where we have these institutional funds like never before? You know, are we in a level where this 4-year cycle is still going to be a thing, or is this kind of is this now nonsense thinking that we're going to continue like that?
My price model for Bitcoin and my general model for Bitcoin is the price of Bitcoin is driven by the inflation rate or the inflation of the fiat currency in the frame of reference. So if you're in Argentina, or if you're in Venezuela, or if you're dealing in the Turkish lira, if they're weakening at a rapid rate, then the price of Bitcoin in those currencies is going to escalate at a rapid rate. And I think the second dynamic is general adoption of Bitcoin as a treasury asset or a reserve asset or some kind of savings technology. And if 1% of the world adopts it, it's going to go at a certain rate, but when it's 2% or 8% or 16%, it's going to go up at a much more rapid rate. And then I think the third driver is technology. So if Bitcoin is built into Cash App, and you can move Bitcoin around in 1 hour for 50 cents, then that's good. But when Cash App supports the ability to move Bitcoin cash tag to cash tag in 1 second for free, that's better. And when Cash App installs Lightning into Cash App, and you can move Bitcoin instantly between any of dozens or hundreds of mobile wallets instantly for near free, that's even better. So the utility, and when Bitcoin is built into Apple Pay and Google Pay, and Lightning is built into Apple Pay and Google Pay and Facebook, and you can zap this stuff around on the WhatsApp network or the Instagram network or the whatever network between billions and billions of people, that's better. So technology, inflation, and adoption are all part of the equation. The amount of Bitcoin is never going to be more than 21 million. Any rational actor has already calculated the end game out to 2140, and we know it's going to be capped at 21 million. So I would say the 4-year cycles are like a secondary effect. I mean, I won't say that there's no effect at all, but it's a secondary factor. The primary factors are adoption, technology, and fiat inflation. And as you know, if Ray Dalio decides to stop accumulating gold and start accumulating Bitcoin instead, and buys $5 billion of Bitcoin instead of $5 billion of gold, then of course, you know, the 4-year cycle where we're at in the halving is less important. And if 10 people copy one large investor and there's $50 billion of demand, again, the cycle is less important. And if one government, like say a Middle Eastern government, decided to use Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset, they would buy tens of billions or 50 billion worth of Bitcoin. The technology thing wouldn't matter that much. The halving thing wouldn't matter that much. The inflation thing wouldn't matter that much. In fact, the adoption speaks for itself, and other countries would copy it. Now that these things are a little bit intertwined, because inflation is a really good catalyst to drive adoption. If I told you your currency is going to lose 99% of its value over the next 5 years, you would scramble to adopt some other asset to store your value. And so hyperinflation is a good marketing event driving adoption. But other adoption by people that you respect drives adoption. And ultimately, Google and Apple and Facebook are monsters, and they can drive adoption of many things. So I would focus upon the big macro factors primarily. I think that when the miners have half as much Bitcoin to sell every day, it'll be a tightening, but it doesn't really determine whether Bitcoin goes to $1 million a coin or 10 million a coin. It's just one of the things to throw into the mix.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I mean, it's a lot of value in that, and that's fascinating what you said. You also mentioned in that answer about banks across the world having a gold as a reserve. Now, many people have said, and I think the audience would love to know this, is that many people have said that Bitcoin is like digital gold. So your opinion on this, I mean, should we treat the two as separate, or is there some merit in utilizing the two together and having the two together?
Yeah, well, my opinion is, of course, Bitcoin can be thought of as digital gold, and it can also be thought of as digital property. It can also be thought of as digital money. And if you're a physicist or a theorist, it's most comprehensively thought of as digital energy. It is digital energy or digital matter. So if we consider gold, I just don't think gold is a good 100-year store of value. Gold is not working right now. If we look at the economy, I keep track of performance versus other assets. On August 11th, 2020, MicroStrategy had to choose whether it would adopt gold as its treasury reserve asset or Bitcoin as its treasury reserve asset or something else. So here's what's happened. Since the day we made a $250 million investment in Bitcoin and we got in this market, silver is down 35%, since August 10th, 2020. Gold is down 15%. Bonds are down 15%. The NASDAQ is up 8%. The S&P is up 18%. Bitcoin is up 80%. And MicroStrategy stock is up 101%. So it's pretty clear all the assets aren't working as stores of value in our current environment. But more to the point, if you hold gold for 100 years, gold miners are going to print more gold, 2% more gold a year. So that means the half-life of gold is at best 35 years, which means your gold's going to be cut in half 3 times over 100 years. So if you started with $1 million worth of gold and you just wait, you're going to have 500,000, then 250,000, then 125,000. You're just losing all of your value because the gold miners keep diluting the gold supply. And the second order effect is gold gets centralized and is corrupted. So gold is being inflated, corrupted by rehypothecation and being sold short by bankers, and it's being confiscated. So statistically, over 100 years, you got to assume that gold maybe will hold 10% of your value. Bitcoin, on the other hand, it doesn't have the same counterparty risk, it doesn't have the same confiscation risk, and it can't be inflated away. So Bitcoin, just on that basis, is 10 times better, harder money than gold. And gold, as you can see, is much harder money than silver. The other reason that Bitcoin's better, though, is because you can move a block of Bitcoin at the speed of light. If you have $1 billion of gold weighs 30,000 pounds, it takes 6 months to move and $5 million to move it between New York and Tokyo. $1 billion of Bitcoin could be moved for about a quarter, maybe $1 in a couple of minutes. And that's on the base layer. And if you start to move it on layer 2s and layer 3s, you could break it into 1 million pieces, move it, 1,000 times a second, and then recompose it again. So the velocity of Bitcoin is thousands, if not millions of times higher than the velocity of gold. The programmability is higher. So if you look at it, you would say, well, Bitcoin's clearly better than gold by far in every respect. And if gold's worth 10 trillion, Bitcoin must be worth 20, 30, 40 trillion. But you can't really stop there because digital gold is still a limited idea. Bitcoin is really better thought of as digital property. It's like if you're gonna buy a second home to Airbnb, or you're gonna buy a piece of commercial real estate, you'd be better off to buy Bitcoin because commercial real estate is stuck in a city. If your real estate's stuck in Istanbul, or it's stuck in Paris, or it's stuck in Kiev, or it's stuck in Moscow, you've incurred counterparty risk from the government, from the mayor, from the governor, from the country, and from the jurisdiction where your property is located. You can't move your ranch out of Zimbabwe to New York City, and you can't move your hotel from one city like Mykonos to Tokyo. But with Bitcoin, you can move the property in just a matter of seconds from one place to another place. You can decompose it and recompose it. And there are people that will want to either borrow it or rent it, or you will be able to mortgage it. No one's going to give you a mortgage on your ranch in Zimbabwe, if they're a bank in San Francisco. So the real beauty of Bitcoin is you can put a lien on it like property. You can sell the rights, the useful rights to it over a short period of time. You can mortgage it to any bank on earth. You can move it anywhere. You can rent it to anyone. And that makes it superior to owning a building in London or a building anywhere. It doesn't really matter. I mean, a building in New York, you might think you want to own New York real estate, but New York real estate could be impaired by regulations that are laid out by the neighborhood committee, the zoning board, the mayor of New York, the governor of New York, or the nation of the United States. So I think when you think about why we love gold because it's a non-sovereign store of value bearer asset. But it was the best idea in the 19th century. It was a failing idea in the 20th century. It is really a defective idea in the 21st century. You can't carry it through an airport. You can't send it to anybody. You're not going to be able to lien it, mortgage it, or rent it out. It's dead money. It's always going to be dead money. And it's obsolete. You might as well be owning glass beads in Africa or the giant stone coin of the Yap people. It's dead money. Live money is money that you can program that'll move to 8 billion mobile phones, that'll move at the speed of light between 50 million computers, that you can take anywhere, that you can custody with any counterparty, that you can lien up, mortgage, and rent to the smartest, most affluent investors in the world a decade from now. And so for that reason, I think that they're somewhat similar, but they're not really the same thing. Bitcoin is just so much better that they're not comparable. Most of the world hasn't figured it out yet, so it seems like it's a rational thing to do, just to acquire the Bitcoin and then point out the facts, I mean the obviousness of the situation to people that don't know it yet, and then the world will adopt Bitcoin and they'll sell their gold at an increasing rate.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, like you said, almost a sign of the times. You know, in the 19th century, it makes sense to have something like gold, but now, as we're kind of adopting things and making our own moves in technology and the strides forwards, it does seem like Bitcoin would be a much better bet. One thing that we saw you tweet a few days ago was once again declaring yourself as a Bitcoin maximalist. Now, what is it about Bitcoin itself that makes it so that other coins almost aren't worth having? Why would you put all your efforts into Bitcoin itself?
At the core, a Bitcoin maximalist thinks Bitcoin is an instrument of economic empowerment. A technocrat thinks Bitcoin's cool technology and there's, there are a lot of other technologies to invest in. But the difference between a technology investor and a maximalist is a maximalist says, this is ethically superior to investing in a technology stock. Like Apple and Google are technology stocks, and private companies are technology stocks, and they're interesting, but they're not ethically superior. The thing that makes Bitcoin special is the Immaculate Conception. The fact that it is a commodity without an issuer, the fact that Satoshi gave it as a gift to the world to enrich the world, disappeared and never profited from it. The fact that I can buy $4 billion worth of it, but I can't change it. Right? I'm not investing in an equity. I'm investing in a commodity, and this is the world's first digital commodity that's been successful. And as a digital commodity, it means it's neutral money. No company controls it. No founder controls it. No one can corrupt it. No, you want if you're going to use something as a store of value for the next 100 years, and you're going to use it in any country in Africa, you want to know that that the people that run the country can't corrupt it. The bank can't corrupt it. No company can corrupt it. And even though I like Google and I like Apple, I don't want to trust Apple and Google with my fortune for the next 100 years. And I don't think the Chinese want to trust Apple and Google with all their money. And I don't think that any country and I'm sure that Google doesn't want to trust Apple with its money, and I'm sure Apple doesn't want to trust Google or Facebook with their money. So what's special about Bitcoin is that it is commodity and it's beyond anybody's control. And it has established that over the course of the history, starting from January 1st, 2009. It's not easy to establish a neutral, fair, equitable, open, permissionless digital monetary network. It is quite an achievement. When I look forward, I think the reason, it's not that I wouldn't invest in companies or technologies, it's just, if I invest in Apple or Google or any other company, I just treat them as equity and they're risk assets, and I understand that I'm accepting the risk of the employee base, the management team, the home country, the competition risk, the execution risk. All of those things are things to accept. If I look at the other crypto assets, the real issue is there really isn't a crypto asset that's a commodity without an issuer that has the kind of immaculate conception that Bitcoin has. Bitcoin Cash was a hard fork, and it kind of represents a corruption of the idea, because if you change the protocol in a material way, you hard fork it, then the question is, will you just keep hard forking it? Because as soon as Bitcoin Cash hard forked, then Bitcoin Satoshi Vision hard forked. And so that corruption leads to another corruption. And the market's spoken. What happened is Bitcoin Cash is lost 99.5% of its value against Bitcoin. It's pretty clear what people want is they want an uncorruptible crypto asset. every time you create a hard fork, every time you materially change the protocol, especially the monetary protocol, the block size, the transaction fee scheme, the block reward scheme, the total supply, if that's changing in a material fashion, you would have to wait a decade after the last change to determine whether the protocol was defective or corrupted and whether it's secure or not secure. So I'm a maximalist in the sense that I think it's valuable to spread an uncorruptible, immortal money to the world. And if you screw around with 27 different coins, you're just slowing down the rate at which you deliver an instrument of economic empowerment to the world. But also, if you're promoting an unregistered security, right, that's an ethical lapse. You can only promote a security if you've made full and fair disclosure to the general public. So if you go and read MicroStrategy 10Ks and 10Qs and 8Ks, you'll see thousands and thousands of pages of disclosure written by armies of lawyers and accountants carefully outlining the risk factors of investing in the MicroStrategy security. And we update them. We update them every quarter. We update them every year. And if any material change were to take place in our company, we would update the entire world within 4 business days via an 8K. So, I mean, people joke, they're like, well, have you sold your Bitcoin? Have you sold your Bitcoin? It's such a silly thing on Twitter. The only reason that people say stupid things like that on Twitter is they don't really understand securities law and the ethics of securities. If I were to go and sell 10% of MicroStrategy's Bitcoin, we would by law be required to disclose via an 8K to the entire world with the clock ticking. So on the other hand, in the crypto world, there are a lot of crypto project teams that are changing the protocol all the time, and it's unclear, what the implications are. And they don't realize that they're creating securities because they don't understand securities law. And because they don't realize it, they don't understand that changing the protocol and leaving the protocol uncertain and then selling it to the general public results in an ethical lapse. And I think that the entire industry is going to come to terms with that shortly. Bottom line, though, if I look at crypto commodities, there's only one great crypto commodity that has passed the test of time that's technically sound, economically sound, and ethically sound, and that's Bitcoin. There's a lot of things that are successful in the crypto space, but they have not gotten through all of the regulatory hurdles. It's unclear how the regulators will deal with stable coins, and we can see some look more successful than others and look less risky. Circle doesn't look that risky because they've got full disclosure and they're holding mostly cash equivalents. Tether has been successful. That's a little bit more opaque. And then UST is an example of what happens when you issue an unregistered security backed by 5% solid assets, in which case people lose 50 or 60 billion dollars overnight, right? That's an ethical lapse. And so the marketplace has got those issues. I wouldn't, if you issued a crypto token and if you fully issued all of the regulatory filings, if you disclosed who owned it, who controlled it, how many there would be, and every risk factor, I still wouldn't promote it because it's a security. I don't promote Apple stock. I mean, I don't promote Google, and they're full of full disclosures. The issue with securities is they have risk. I mean, they have counterparty risk and execution risk. I don't see any of 100,000 public equities or securities as being the instrument of economic empowerment for 8 billion people in the world. I think a digital commodity without an issuer that is not a security can serve as global money because it's open and permissionless and it's incorruptible, or at least it's the most incorruptible thing I think that the human race has come up with that could possibly serve as money. And so that's why I'm a Bitcoin maximalist.
I think that's a great answer to that question. we've also looked through some of your other tweets as well. We follow you on Twitter, and slightly changing the tone on the tweet. You also tweeted out the other day with regards to Bitcoin. It keeps you cheerful and constructive. And I think a lot of people right now would love to know, especially during this current climate and the crypto crash we've seen, how so, and how can other people find that happiness?
Let me come back again to my analysis of the market. Since March of 2020, the world's been in an unprecedented crisis. A war on COVID, a war on the currency, a war on trade, lots and lots of political intervention, currency collapses everywhere. There are challenges with the currency in Turkey right now. There are challenges with the Argentine peso. There are challenges in Sri Lanka. A lot of places in the world, the currencies are collapsing. In places like if we look at Europe, we've seen the Great British Pound has lost 13% of its value against the dollar in the last year. The euro is down 14%. The Polish zloty is down 18%. The yen is down 20%. Lots of currency turmoil and chaos, and a lot of business chaos. And now the question is, what are you supposed to do? What can you constructively do? What can you control? Well, I gave you a comparison of what MicroStrategy did. We were looking at a world that was hopeless in March of 2020. We had 500 million of cash that was losing 20% of its value a year. So if we had held the cash, we would have lost 40% of its purchasing power. And our business wasn't growing 20% a year. And if the money supply expands by 10 to 20% a year, and that's what's going on in the US, and you can't grow your cash flows by more than the rate at which the money supply expands, then you're getting progressively weaker every year. And maybe, I've said before, the road to serfdom consists of working exponentially harder for a currency growing exponentially weaker. If you're living in Venezuela and you're getting paid in Venezuelan currency and it's losing 95% of its value within 12 months, you can work 20 times harder. You won't get ahead, right? You're going to be bankrupt within 36 months, if not within 12 months. It's impossible. It doesn't matter what you invest in. It doesn't matter what you do. In a world where everything is a partial currency derivative, then if the currency collapses, life is hopeless. And I just want to make this point. Your value stocks are currency derivatives. Your bonds are currency derivatives. Your real estate that pays you a rent in the currency is a currency derivative. If the real estate has a flat rent, it's a complete currency derivative, looks like a bond. If you can raise your rent via CPI, it's a partial currency derivative. But the US dollar is losing 20% of its value against scarce assets, or like take US single family homes are up 20% a year for the past 2 years. The CPI was only 3% and then 8%. So if you had real estate capped at CPI, you lost, some amount of the value of the real estate because it's a currency derivative. So why does Bitcoin keep me hopeful and cheerful, right, and constructive? Well, the only solution in a world full of 500 trillion of currency derivatives where everybody is working for currency is to find a non-currency technology, a non-sovereign store of value that is not a currency derivative. And that used to be gold, but as I've established, gold is broken. It doesn't work anymore. It's hopeless for you to save your money in gold. If MicroStrategy had saved its money in gold and used gold on August 11th, 2020, our enterprise value would probably be about $500 million right now. As it is, our enterprise value is $5 billion right now. In fact, it was worth billions and billions of dollars to our company to adopt Bitcoin instead of gold. Our stock would have been probably $60 a share instead of $245 a share. And you can see, let's look at the digital monopolies in the world since August 11th, 2020. Google's up 47%, Apple's up 36%, Microsoft's up 26%. They're the most powerful companies on the planet. They're more powerful than all but about half a dozen governments on the planet. They can basically create any product, ship it to 1 billion people for free. You can't stop them. They can do whatever they want. 26, 38, 47%. On the other hand, Amazon down 25%, Facebook down 37%, Netflix down 55%. They're also powerful companies, but that didn't save them in the last 2 years. MicroStrategy up 99%. So if I told you a mid-sized company nobody ever heard of growing its revenues 1 or 2% a year, right, a cash cow, would be able to outperform Google, Apple, Microsoft, every asset class, right, in an environment where the economy's crashing, the currencies are all crashing. Right? We're the lead business intelligence company in Argentina. The Argentine peso lost 95% of its value against the dollar in the last 4 years, which meant that our revenues in Argentina were worth 95% less. So take away Bitcoin and give me gold, or give me something else, and what are we, right? We're hopeless. We're basically on a road to serfdom. And if you told me, you know, you're a doctor, what should you do? My answer is be a good doctor, buy Bitcoin. And if you told me you lived in Zimbabwe or Nigeria, or you lived in Turkey, or you lived in Argentina, and your currency is losing value against the dollar, I would say, go buy some Bitcoin. Make sure you can custody it yourself, or put it with a custodian you really trust. It's a speculative, volatile asset, so the government's not going to think it's currency. They're going to think it's a property. They'll think you're crazy, but that's kind of good, because if they thought it was a currency, they would make it illegal for you to hold it, and they would take it away from you. You can't just hold dollars in an Argentine bank. The government will eventually convert your dollars back into pesos and devalue the peso. So Bitcoin is hope for anybody in the world. If they have any kind of job where they're not a monopoly, and even if they are a monopoly, if you're a manufacturing monopoly, your costs are going up and your energy cost is going up, so you're kind of stuck. So the digital monopolies that basically create software and sell it to everybody on Earth and nobody has a choice, there's a 50-50 chance they'll be able to keep up with this. But I suspect that everybody in the audience is not Apple, Google, or Microsoft. Everybody in the audience probably is more like MicroStrategy. You're probably hardworking, talented at something you do, you have a salary or revenues. They're not growing at 20% a year, right? They'd have to be growing at 100% a year in Turkish lira for you to be keeping up with the purchasing power of the US dollar. That's probably not happening. So Bitcoin is hope. It makes me cheerful and constructive. It's cheerful because there's something you can do. Constructive because there's something you can do. You can build a business and build it into Lightning. You can put Lightning into your product. You can build your balance sheet on Bitcoin. You can advocate Bitcoin. You can educate the world on Bitcoin. You can help people figure out how to safely custody Bitcoin. You can educate your regulators, your lawmakers. You can write books about it, right? You can make it better, right? Every single product in the economy could be made better with Bitcoin. You can build it into your product. You can build it into your service. You can create a Bitcoin derivative. MicroStrategy, since August 11th, bought $4 billion worth of Bitcoin. So cheerful and constructive? Yeah, we got a plan. What are we going to do? We're going to raise money. We're going to buy Bitcoin. We're going to tell the entire world we did it. We're going to answer everybody's questions about how they can do it. And then we're going to work with lawmakers and regulators to improve the regulations, to improve the accounting, to explain the technique and the execution. And presumably, there are a lot of other people in the world with a similar problem that we have that will do it with us. And so we have a plan, and that, I think we've got a great team, and that's really good for morale. That's why I think Bitcoin is, it makes me cheerful and constructive.
Well, thank you for that. I think we've ended the discussion here. We're going to open up the floor to some questions. So if there's going to be a microphone available for the audience, or...
do you want to pick someone?
Just pick someone, yeah. Tell you what, we'll start with the person in the front over here. Hopefully, Michael, you'll be able to hear.
Hey, thank you for your time and the insight. My question would be, what do you think of the long-term threat that quantum computing poses to the blockchain?
I don't think there really is a long-term threat. I mean, I think that a lot of people in the crypto ecosystem spread that FUD because they want to sell you some other crypto altcoin. And so they're going to say things like, maybe quantum will undermine Bitcoin, buy my coin, give me money. And I think that generally most of that FUD is really spread by other crypto entrepreneurs that want to market their own thing. Ultimately, technology will advance, encryption technology will advance. I suspect that in the event that we ever see better attack techniques in the software industry, everyone will upgrade the quality of their encryption. And it doesn't mean just Bitcoin, it means Google and Facebook and every government. So I don't think it's, I think it's really just saying, do you think in the future there will be things that we have to address? Yeah, the answer is yeah, stuff will happen in the future, but I don't think that's a reason not to support Bitcoin at this time.
Wonderful. We'll go with the person behind here over there. There we go. Wonderful.
Yeah, a question to Mike. Thank you very much, Mike, for the great conversation, and for you guys, thank you very much. Question, how to behave for trading company like us, a small trading company. We work with the investors. We trade. Like, what's your strategy, like in terms of portfolio? Like, just holding Bitcoin, or like how much percentage is trading? How much is just holding? How to explain to investors?
Yeah, our strategy is we acquire and hold Bitcoin, which means that whenever we have money, we buy Bitcoin. If we have, how much do we buy? Well, we keep enough money for 1 year of working capital, so that we always have plenty of working capital. But any long-range asset, if we don't need the money for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, we're going to invest it in property. And the strongest property we can buy is Bitcoin. So my general advice to anybody would be, don't try to time the market. I don't think anybody can time the market. The basis of the S&P index and the rational market theory, and John Bogle said this, and Warren Buffett said this, and many investors have said this. It's all about time in the market, not timing the market. 1% of the days are going to result in 80 to 90% of the return. In some cases, 2% of the days are 100% of the return. So if you're not in the market on 6 days out of the year, maybe you don't get a return. So I don't know which days it'll move, but you could imagine, you know, if a Middle Eastern nation said, we just decided to buy $10 billion of Bitcoin and we're going to buy $10 billion more Bitcoin every year, the price of Bitcoin would double or triple or quadruple, and you would be waiting to trade that. You can't trade that. It's just, is it going to happen? Sure, it's going to happen. When? I don't know. So if you have an allocation to digital property, then my answer is I just buy Bitcoin with whatever cash I have available. And if you're expecting to need the money in less than 4 years, you probably shouldn't buy it. If you're going to hold it more than 4 years, you're going to hold it forever. You're just buying and holding. There's no reason to think about trading it. So I'm not really a trader. I think that 95% of the people that trade, they generally lose. It's a losing strategy. If I look at all of the most successful investors and the wealthiest people in the world, the characteristic of nearly all of them that I know is they have extremely large, long-term positions or long leverage positions in property or corporations that they hold for a decade or longer. Like Jeff Bezos held Amazon stock through 5 drawdowns of 80% or more. And after 2000, Amazon was down 95%. And he never traded it. And that's how he got to be the richest guy in the world. And Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer got to be the richest people in the world by holding. And so I think the smartest thing you can do is just buy and hold for the long term. And if you want to diversify, you diversify across property. So buy some scarce, desirable property that a person that's more intelligent than you and more affluent than you will want to buy from you in a decade. Ask yourself the question, what will an extremely rich, well-educated person want to buy that I own in the year 2032? And own that. And so that means maybe sports teams, rare art, beachfront property in Saint-Tropez or the Hamptons or something. Or a company, a good company. The catch, of course, is you have to be able to maintain the property for the next decade. So if there's excessive property tax, you might not be able to pay the property tax. If the company you buy is losing money, you might not be able to hold the company. It may not be able to stay competitive. So the nice thing about Bitcoin is it's the lowest cost to maintain property, and it's the easiest thing to hold. If I was going to buy something to give to my grandchildren, right, I would give them a Bitcoin, right? You don't have to do anything, and you can be anywhere, and you don't have to pay a lot of money to hold it. If you give them a ranch or you give them a company, how are they going to run the ranch or pay property tax on the ranch or run the company? And if you give them a bunch of artwork, will it still be valuable? I mean, you got to guess right and put it in a vault and maintain it. So a lot of other investments are very complicated. I think that Bitcoin is really a good long-term property investment. And if you bought a city block in Manhattan in the year 1900, would you trade it back and forth? Like you sell it or you buy it, you're like, okay, well, there's a war, I think I'm going to sell it. Generally, you would panic sell it at the wrong time. You'd never buy back in, and you would get wiped out of your position. So generally, the best strategies that make families rich over 100 years are they simply own the entire middle of town, or they own all the desirable real estate. Take a cue from the royal families in the UK. Or from the royal families in the Middle East. They own all the highly valuable real estate. They don't sell it. They'll never sell it. They'll give it to their children's children's children. And by the way, the reason that works for them is if you're a sovereign, you don't have to pay property tax on your property. So I can own 1 million square miles of property. I don't pay property tax on it. I can hold it for 300 years. That's why it's good to own your own country. Right? If you're an individual and you own square miles of property in the middle of London and Paris, you might get taxed. And if you can't pay the tax, you have to surrender the property. So I think that that's why with Bitcoin, you kind of just buy it and you hold it. And, if you're holding it in a country where they pass a law saying we're going to tax 3% of the value of the Bitcoin every year, you might want to move to a different place, right, where the property tax is not going to strip it out of your hands in a decade. So I think that that's the other factor there.
Okay, we're going to go to someone on the right side over here. So this person here is standing up. Wonderful. Technical difficulties with the microphone. Going to get solved, don't worry.
Yeah, I don't hear the question. Could you repeat it for me?
They're just working on the microphone, Mike.
Sorry?
They're just working on making sure that the microphone's all working.
Well, I can hear you. So if you can hear them, you could just tell me what they ask.
Let's tell you what. Should we go to... I think
I got it.
There we go. Got it all sorted. All solved.
Hi, Michael. Eric Ma here for TIDEX. And
sure.
I just wanted to pick your brain on Ethereum. I know you're a Bitcoin maximalist. but just wanted to get your thoughts on Ethereum itself. Thank you.
Well, the short of it is, I think Vitalik in his speech last week said that Ethereum was 40% done, and then he laid out a 3 or 4 year roadmap. And so as an institutional investor, I think you have to wait until the protocol is complete, and the protocol doesn't look like it'll be complete or stable for another 36 months. So, you know, the way I look at something, a crypto asset network, is I want to know, is it economically sound? Is it technically sound? Is it ethically sound? Economically sound means I need to know the monetary policy for the next 1,000 years. Right now, we don't know the monetary policy of Ethereum. I mean, it's just not clear what it is for the next 36 months, much less the next 1,000 years. So technically sound means I need to see the protocol functions without being hacked for about 5 to 10 years. So we don't know that either, right? Because if you're hard forking and changing it, every time you do a big upgrade, you introduce new attack surfaces. And then ethically sound means I need to know that nobody could change it, which includes Vitalik. I need to know that no one at the Ethereum Foundation, no individual can change the protocol, because if they can change the protocol, it makes it a security. If it makes a security, right, then it's not going to become global money. So I think that if you're a venture capitalist, you can invest in private equities and, you know, you take that kind of risk. But if you're looking for a crypto asset network to hold for decades, then you want to know that your asset's not going to be diluted. Like, that's why I wouldn't hold Dogecoin, because they keep printing more Dogecoin. That's why I wouldn't want to hold gold, because it's being diluted. That's why I wouldn't hold Apple or Google stock, because the CEOs could dilute you. So you need to know that the protocol is not dilutive, and you need to know that it's technically sound, and you need to know that it's ethically sound. And I think that 5 years after the protocol stops changing in any material way, and here let me make a distinction, right? If you change the mining subsidies, you change the transaction fees, you change any material, you know, parameter which changes the security or changes the economics of the protocol, right? You've made a material change. If you just found a bug and you fixed the bug, yeah, I could probably live with you fix the bug. If you fix a fatal security flaw or you fix a fatal bug, then I think that's okay. I wouldn't look so askance to that, except I would say it was there. I got to wait 5 years to see if it's really fixed. Because a lot of times when you fix bugs, you introduce regressions where you introduce another bug while you're fixing the bug. So my view is, if you're a conservative investor, a decade after the protocol stopped changing, you can consider whether or not you're going to invest in it. If you're an aggressive investor, 5 years. If you take a lot of risk, 5 years after, like a venture capitalist, 5 years after the protocol stops changing, you might say it's technically, ethically, and economically sound. I understand what it is. So that's the lens that I place on most things. You can see, like with Bitcoin Cash, 5 years after that one change, it was only one change, double the block size. That's a horrific mistake. You understand? It's a horrific, awful mistake to double the block size. Destroyed all the minor economics, put into question the ethical stability of the protocol. It's a very small thing. It's probably 1/100,000th as significant as what Ethereum is attempting to do right now. It's an extremely small thing. But the result is that Bitcoin Cash lost 99.5% of its value against Bitcoin. It's a failure 5 years later. It's pretty obvious. So I know that I don't want Bitcoin Cash after watching what it did. With Ethereum, I don't really think you can come to any intellectually responsible opinion until the development team stops modifying the protocol in a material fashion.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that answer there, Michael. I think we've got time for just one or two more questions. So we're going to go for someone in the center over here. You there in the front. Yes. think the microphone's just coming. Wonderful. It's fascinating.
Hi, Michael. My
Hello.
strategy has over 100,000 bitcoins. When your friend asks you, I can buy 1 bitcoin or I can buy 100 MicroStrategy stocks. What will you say him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to promote my stock. I'm here to talk about Bitcoin. MicroStrategy is a security. So what I would say is you should read all of our 10K and 10Q filings, look at the capital structure of the company, and then come to your own conclusion about whether or not you want to make an investment in a security. Right? I think Bitcoin is a simple thing. My advice there is you buy it to hold it forever. I think MicroStrategy is an equity. You're betting on the management team. We take risks. We're running a software business. Our software business competes against Microsoft and Oracle and SAP. We've been in the business 30 years. There's thousands of people involved. We like the business, but you have to decide if you like the business. And then we also take financial risk. You know, we have $2.2 billion worth of bonds outstanding at a blended interest rate, you know, just slightly less than 2%. We've got a $205 million Bitcoin-backed loan. You can read the terms of that. We've issued $1 billion of equity at the market last year. So you want to read that, and you'd want to come to your own opinion about whether you like the management team and you trust the management team and you like the business or not. But regardless, it's a risk investment that you would make. And so, you know, if you're the CEO or an officer of a publicly traded company, you know, you are basically responsible for a security. And I would want someone to be well informed before they would consider taking an interest in my company's security.
Yeah, we've got time for one more question, so Richard, go you on the end there.
Hello, thank you for the insight. So when we do the sensitivity analysis and time series analysis or regression between the price of the Bitcoin and the official news like FOMC meetings or
I'm having a hard time hearing the question.
Yeah, I'm not sure if is the microphone on there?
Something about sensitivity analysis, but I didn't hear the rest.
Should be on now.
Yes. When we do the regression analysis or time series analysis between the Bitcoin prices and official news, like FOMC meetings or CPI indexes, such correlation has been increased during the past years. But do you think that for Bitcoin, in order to be a more independent digital asset class, such dependency would be diminishes in near future? What is your prediction?
You know, I think the Bitcoin at times is uncorrelated to risk assets, and then sometimes it's correlated to risk assets. And I think in the last 12 months, the entire world has been in turmoil, and we're in the biggest financial crisis and investment crisis of 50 years right now. So it's kind of difficult to divine things on a short-term basis. I am a fundamental investor. I look at the fundamentals. The fundamentals are there's never more than 21 million Bitcoin. The Bitcoin network is something like 100x to 1,000x more secure than the next best thing. It's unique. It's dominant. It solves a problem for 8 billion people. You can build it into 50 billion computers, right? And it is the ethically, technically, economically superior solution to a problem that every investor and every person faces in the world. And it's growing. So that's enough for me to be enthusiastic and take a long-term view. If I look at the performance of Bitcoin in the near term, if you look over the course of a day or a week or a month, you can give yourself anxiety and you can attempt to explain it and you can run back regression models, but I don't think they'll be all that useful. If you look at Bitcoin over 2 years, it's got an ROI of 103%, gold's down 10%, S&P is up 22. If you look over 3 years, Bitcoin's 123%. Over 4 years, it's 159%. Over 5 years, it's 685%. Over 6 years, it's 3,100%. In fact, it outperforms by a dramatic amount gold and the S&P on all time frames more than a year. So if the summary is, if you have a long time frame, it's a good idea. It's kind of like investing in steel or automobiles or electricity or oil in the first decade. All of those things were highly volatile. People went bankrupt. Lots of car companies went bankrupt. Lots of oil fields went bankrupt. Everybody had lots of strong opinions about what would happen. The one thing that's clear is people that actually can hold for the long term are probably going to win. And those that actually trade or are weakly capitalized or have weak conviction will either get forced liquidated or they'll get shaken out. So, I don't think any particular thing needs to happen in the next 24 months. I expect that over time, the asset will become less volatile than it has been as the regulatory environment develops. As you see fewer unregistered securities, as the crypto exchanges get regulated, and as the marketplace gets educated, then I think that you'll see Bitcoin be less volatile. I think that its current characteristics are a function of the volatility in the macroeconomic environment, which is 50-year high, and a function of the volatility in the crypto environment, which is also extremely high because of all the unregistered securities and unregulated exchanges. So if you're looking for stability, you won't find it in the near term. But if you have a long-term view, then I think the fundamentals are in your favor.
Okay, so.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I think that just about wraps up. Thank you very much, everyone, for your questions. And yeah, thank you very much, Michael, for your time. It's been a fantastic chat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Michael, for all sharing your experience, for your time, and all for your energy. I don't know whether you can see me or hear me, but we really loved your speech here. There were so many questions unanswered, but the time is never enough for you. So thanks very much for your time and energy. Thanks a lot.
Yes, my pleasure. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. All right, so I also would like to thank Tom Busby and Josh Martin for moderating this session. It was very useful for all of us. And I would like to inform you what we'll have next. For those of you who would like to come to the VIP party, there will be a car, there will be the VIP transfers right in front of the hotel conference rooms entrance, not the hotel's entrance. So it will be taking us to Worksport as soon as possible. And for tomorrow, I would like to be here at 8 o'clock. There will be registration, there will be the networking hour, and we'll have a big surprise for you at 9:50. We'll have a drumming performance. We will start with a drum performance in the morning. So thank you very much for being with us, for coming over. See you tomorrow.